Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was banished to a dragon village. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by TheaBlue1 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Blanket disclaimer. I do not own Naruto, Ninja Gaiden or DOA. Shimura Danzo was many things. Highly intelligent and ambitious, the founder of the Root program, and a village elder in Konoha. But now, after so many years of maneuvering in the shadows, he had achieved his goal. He was the 6th Hokage. Tsunade, with her weak teachings about the will of fire, was in a coma. Konoha lay in ruins, but the people survived. They would rebuild even stronger than before now that they had a strong Hokage leading them. Danzo had waited so long for all the pieces on the chessboard to fall into place. Now he was in control. He looked over his forces and found one problem though: Uzumaki Naruto. The foolish boy was a powerful asset to the village and the village hero, yet he was dead set on finding the rogue Uchiha Sasuke. Initially the boy fought him tooth and nail, but Danzo made a decision that would forever change the fate of the shinobi nations. He would let Uzumaki go look for the Uchiha and Naruto would conveniently disappear. Danzo long wanted the village's demon container under his control, so making Uzumaki vanish and reappear as a root agent after a few years of conditioning would work out beautifully and would keep the Akatsuki away as well. He quietly convinced Koharu and Hamura this was the best choice of action, and within a few days, Naruto was given a hero's send-off by the village. He was quietly tailed for miles by 2 followers. A root agent that was to wait until Naruto was in a position to ambush and hear the Hinata. For 3 days Naruto walked blissfully unaware of his 2 tails, but as he set camp up for the night, Hinata revealed herself to him. Naruto-kun. Naruto nearly wet himself in fright. Hinata? What are you doing here? I'm going to find Sasuke, it's dangerous. Hinata smiled sadly. Didn't I say I wanted to be with you? I love you, Uzumaki Naruto. Don't leave me behind again. Let me help you. Naruto heard her confession during his battle with Nagato, but it was somewhat blurred to him. He had avoided thinking about it because he was not sure how to react. Now there was no avoiding it though. He always thought Hinata was a sweet and kind person, if a little weird, but looking in her eyes and at her earnest expression he knew she was being honest with him. He liked Hinata, but did he like her that way? He didn't know what to say. How cute. It seems the container of the fox has an admirer. Spoke a sarcastic voice. Since you managed to defeat Nagato, I guess I'll deal with you myself, said Tobi as he stepped out of the shadows. Naruto saw Tobi throw a kunai at Hinata and he dashed over, tackling her out of the way. Don't you Akatsuki ever give up? Screamed Naruto as he stood up with Hinata behind him. Tobi cackled, you're the one who should give up. Sasuke's already joined me and it's only a matter of time before we bring peace to the world. Naruto threw a kunai that phased through Tobi and Tobi countered with a roundhouse kick that knocked Naruto into Hinata, sending them both down. This went on for nearly 20 minutes as Naruto and Hinata got pummeled without laying a finger on their attacker. They tried to withdraw, but Tobi was too fast for them to escape. The root agent appeared from nowhere and attacked Tobi. Danzo's orders were to bring back Naruto alive, but Tobi used a kamui on the agent and the root operative vanished from that plane of existence. Now for you too, Tobi said, chuckling at the fear in their eyes. Naruto snapped out of his stupor and yelled, hold on tight to me, Hinata. Reverse summoning jutsu. Seeing his quarry was about to escape, Tobi said angrily, oh no you don't. As he caught them both in a kamui. He couldn't have cared less about the Hyuga girl, but she was clinched tight onto the fox container, so he captured them both. The 2 space/time jutsus collided and Naruto and Hinata silently vanished into thin air. Thinking he had them, Tobi teleported into the pocket dimension to finish his capture. They were gone. Tobi unleashed a growl. I'll find you, boy. In the end, Naruto and Hinata were never found. It was as if they ceased to exist. The sacred wilderness. Naruto and Hinata awoke feeling like they'd been run through a meat grinder. They'd only known darkness and pain along with the sensation of free falling. The only solid thing they had to hold on to was each other, so they held on tight. Their endless voyage came to a halt in a forest they did not recognize. They looked around bleary-eyed and saw a massive cave entrance, but soon passed back out from exhaustion as it started raining on them. It was the sight of these 2 wet, bloodied warriors lying passed out on the forest floor that greeted Hayabusa Joe and his comrade Genjiro as they passed the fabled Orochi cave. As the 2 teens were lying outside of it, the 2 veteran warriors assumed they had escaped the cave. Those 2 kids were either very brave or very foolish to have entered that cursed place. Genjiro. Let's see if they are still alive. Most die from the poison in there within an hour of escaping. I don't know of anyone who lived to tell about the horrors within, Joe said somberly. With a nod from Genjiro, they disentangled the 2 teens from each other and laid them side by side in the nearby camp. An hour later, Genjiro called his friend over. Joe, as bad as these 2 look, they aren't showing any signs of poison or death. They are bloody and bruised, but the damage seems to be limited to external injuries, like they were beaten all over repeatedly. I don't see any signs of broken bones or anything life-threatening. How do you think they survived? I'm shocked to say it, but the boy's wounds actually seem to be healing before my very eyes. Joe looked over his friend's shoulder and saw that Genjiro was right. The two veterans were preparing a pyre for the youngsters, but seeing that they might actually live, they stripped the pair and started cleaning them up and bandaging them. Genjiro was a bit shocked at the odd styles of ninja gear the two were carrying. The Konoha ninjas' kunai and shuriken were obviously of a design like they'd never seen before. They also saw Hinata's Byakugan eyes and assumed she was blind, not unheard of but surprising nevertheless. Within an hour or so the two youths were wrapped up like a pair of mummies. The field dressings did the job, but Joe and Genjiro weren't medics, and their efforts were a bit embarrassing. Genjiro put on a fake smile and said, "Well, as long as none of our healers back home see what we've done, it should all be good, right?" Joe shrugged and said, "We'll have to be on guard for predators. The scent of blood may attract them." "How old do you think they are? Considering the shape they're in, it's hard to say," replied Genjiro. "I'd guess they're in their mid to late teens. A little younger than my son Ryu then. They're old enough to know not to go into the Orochi cave," Joe said in a disappointed tone. "They may not have known about the cave's legend or curse." "Do you think they are even from around here?" asked Genjiro. "They are obviously ninja, but the style of clothing and their weapons are totally foreign to me. Even the mesh armor they wore under their clothes was of an odd fashion. They aren't from the Black Spider clan. Do you think old Muramasa could tell us what kind they are? He'll be the first person we talk to when we get these two back to the village." "It's quite a mystery, Genjiro," Joe said with a gleam in his eye. At Genjiro's nod he said, "Get some shut-eye. I'll take first watch. Maybe our young friends will wake up in the morning." With that the two Hayabusa ninja called it a night. The last thing Joe expected that night was the teenage boy to wake up and start looking around. The boy was stealthily examining his companion to see if she was alright. "Don't worry, youngster, she's just resting. You were both in bad shape when we found you." He spoke quietly. Naruto turned to face Joe rapidly and took a defensive stance. "I won't let you hurt her," he hissed. His blue eyes seemed to glow in the darkness. "Why would we hurt her after we bandaged her up?" asked Joe in a calm tone. The boy seemed to relax a little but was still on guard. "Are you with Akatsuki?" Joe noticed the boy had an odd accent he didn't recognize. "I'm afraid I've never heard of this Akatsuki you're talking about. I'm Hayabusa Joe of the Hayabusa clan, and we found you on our sacred grounds. Can you tell me who you are and where you are from? You shouldn't move around too much. Your injuries were pretty severe." Naruto relaxed a bit seeing this Joe person wasn't hostile. "I've never heard of a Hayabusa clan. Are we in Fire Country?" "We're from Konoha and I'm Uzumaki Naruto." "Well, young Naruto, I can't say I've ever heard of Fire Country or Konoha before. We speak the same language but your accent is different than any I've ever heard. Have you ever heard of the Elemental Nations?" "That's where Fire Country is?" asked Naruto. "I'm afraid not," answered Joe. "These Elemental Nations, they are part of Japan, yes? Japan? I've never heard of it." Genjiro sat up. "You two are talking too loud. Can't a man sleep? If nothing else, keep quiet so that poor blind girl can sleep. I'm sure her hearing is much more sensitive to make up for the blindness." "Whoever said she was blind? Hinata can see fine," Naruto whispered to the other two. Genjiro paused. "I hate to break this to you, but whatever happened in the Orochi cave made her eyes go white. I assure you she's blind." Naruto looked at Genjiro in the darkness like he'd grown a second head. "Hinata's whole family has the Byakugan. Of course her eyes are white. She can see far better than a normal person. Her whole clan can. We must be way out there if you've never heard of the Byakugan and the Hyuga clan." He paused a moment. "What cave are you talking about?" "The last things I remember are being attacked and reverse summoning to Mount Myaboku." "Mount Myaboku? That place is an ancient myth," stammered out Genjiro. "It isn't a myth. It's where my friends the Toads live. I've been there to train for months on end. Let me show you." Summoning jutsu. A pattern formed around Naruto's hand and his chakra flared slightly. There was a puff of smoke but nothing happened. "What the hell? Just how far are we from Fire Country? I'm a Toad Sage. I should be able to summon a toad from anywhere." Joe knew his history and legends. Mount Myaboku was a legend even 500 years ago during the Warring States era here in Japan. I remember my grandmother talking about it when I was a child. That technique you used is unlike any ninpo I've ever seen. You are quite a mystery, Uzumaki-san. We need to go back to the Hayabusa village and investigate this. Hinata groaned. "Ouch, where are we, Naruto-kun, and who are the two ninjas with you? For all that matter, why are you and I covered in bandages?" "I'm glad you're awake, Hinata," said Naruto. "These two ninjas are from the Hayabusa clan. They patched us up. I think my reverse summoning sent us somewhere else. They've never even heard of the Elemental Nations. I need more sleep, Naruto-kun. I'm exhausted." "Can we all talk in the morning?" she asked tiredly. "I'll patch us up with the Mystic Palm Jutsu then. Your friend is right, Naruto-san. You were both beat up pretty bad. Rest until morning. You are safe with us," said Joe. "All right, Joe-san, we are in your care," Naruto said as he lay down by Hinata. Soon the pair were fast asleep. The next morning, a primal roar echoed throughout the forest. Naruto's stomach was talking to him. Hinata cracked one eye open at the noise. "Are you hungry, Naruto-kun?" she asked. Hinata's sweat dropped when she realized he was still asleep. A few minutes and several roars later she heard Naruto talking in his sleep. Ramen, he's definitely alright, thought Hinata. I doubt we'll find any ramen in the wilderness though. She heard a rustle and activated her Byakugan. Why are you hiding in a tree, Ninja-san? For all that matter, where is your friend from last night? She asked Genjiro. Genjiro hopped down from the tree behind her and said, How did you know I was up there, young lady? Nothing can hide from a Hyuga's eyes. We can see 360 degrees. You are moving your left hand towards Yukanai. You need not worry, I am no threat. Genjiro asked. You can see behind you? With shock evident in his tone. Yes, what part of 360 degrees do you not understand? Said Hinata. Oh, it seems your friend has been catching fish for breakfast. She said as she pointed into the forest. A few minutes later, Joe emerged from that point from behind the foliage, leaving Genjiro flabbergasted. I see you're awake, young lady, said Joe kindly. I hope you and your friend like fish. Hinata, wasn't it? Hinata nodded. Yes, I am Hyuga Hinata and my sleeping friend is Uzumaki Naruto. You are? I'm Hayabusa Joe and my friend standing behind you is Genjiro. We found you by the Orochi cave and brought you here to patch you up. Hinata bowed her head. Thank you so much for taking care of us. We never intended to become a burden. Naruto's stomach roared once more. He should be awake soon, she said sheepishly. Naruto awoke as soon as the smell of fish cooking hit his nose. He sat up and saw Hinata sitting nearby. She had the bandages around her right arm removed and was using the mystic palm jutsu to heal her arm, much to the fascination of Genjiro. Joe was also amazed but wasn't gaping like a fish like his friend as her discolored and scraped skin was mended and turned back to a healthy ivory before their very eyes. Hinata smiled at Naruto from under her sloppy bandages and said, Good morning, Naruto-kun. Once I'm done healing my arms, do you want me to check you over? Naruto shook his head. Nah, I'm good. My body will be back at 100% by this afternoon because of you know. It's fine, Naruto-kun, I understand, said Hinata brightly. After breakfast I'm going to go down to the lake and scrub myself clean. Joe-sen has our uniforms over there drying. They are torn up and stained but we can make do for now. Naruto nodded. When you clean up I'll make some shadow clones to guard you. Make sure to heal that pretty face of yours, the bandages are hiding your smile. Hinata stuttered out an, oh of course, and Naruto-kun. As she thought to herself, he thinks I'm pretty. She was actually glad for the bandages were there. They hid the atomic blush she was currently sporting. Hinata was feeling a fainting spell coming on when Joe chimed in. Breakfast is ready. I hope you like fish. There is plenty to go around, so eat as much as you like. Much to Joe and Genjiro's shock, Naruto was soon eating at speeds that defied the laws of physics while Hinata ate in a completely proper and dignified manner. Genjiro said to Joe, I'm glad we got ours before Naruto-san started in. The boy must be famished. I hope he doesn't make himself sick eating so fast. Hinata giggled. Forgive Naruto-kun. He has a very fast metabolism. He always packs away massive quantities. Within 15 minutes Naruto finished eating and patted his stomach. Man, I needed that. Thank you for breakfast, Joe-san. I'll catch us lunch to make up for it. Joe was still a bit shocked by the way Naruto inhaled his breakfast. Where did he put it all, and why didn't he throw it up afterwards, thought the Hayabusa patriarch. It's fine, Naruto-san. You just take it easy. I don't think you'll be in any condition to go hunting for a while. You two just rest and focus on healing. Speaking of healing, Hinata-san, how exactly did you heal your arms? I saw a green glow around your hands and your wounds started to disappear. That was the mystic palm technique, explained Hinata. The green glow you saw was healing chakra. Have you never seen it before? We've never heard of this chakra at all. Can you tell us about it? Asked Genjiro. Naruto and Hinata looked at each other puzzled. Naruto shrugged and said, It's the stuff we ninjas use to cling to trees and do ninjutsu. Maybe you have a different name for it here. Joe asked, What exactly do you mean by cling to trees? Can you demonstrate? Perhaps we do use the same thing, but I'm not sure. Show them the tree walking exercise, Naruto-kun, said Hinata. I'm sure our new friends will understand then. Sure thing, Hinata-chan, said Naruto as he hopped up with far more energy than an injured person should have. Hinata was in her own world. She wanted to let out a squeal and say, He called me Hinata-chan. Maybe we can get closer at last. Fortunately, she was able to keep it together and settled for mentally doing backflips. Naruto walked over to a tree and said, Here we go. I'm sure this will clear things up. Then he walked vertically up the tree and eventually stood upside down on a branch that could support his weight. That is what we call the tree walking exercise where we come from. He skipped down from branch to branch and asked, What do you guys call it? Genjiro sat there gaping in awe. He said, We call that impossible. Joe just facepalmed at his friend's antics. It was obvious to Joe that their new friend's definition of ninja was quite different from the Hayabusa clans or any others he'd heard of. This begged the question of where they were truly from. Where was this fire country? The things these two could do seemed like the legends he'd heard about as a child about the masters of old. He had always put little stock in these stories, and yet what was just demonstrated to him was like a fairy tale that children heard as bedtime stories. This definitely bore further investigation. Joe decided to ask more about chakra before Genjiro made the Hayabusa clan look worse. Tell me more about this chakra, Hinata-san. I find it most impressive. Soon Hinata explained how it was a combination of spiritual and physical energies in harmony that enabled them to perform ninjutsu. She explained that there were those among them that made splendid ninjas without chakra though, likely. In return, Joe explained that they used ki, which was spiritual energy that they performed ninpo with. It seemed that the training methods they used were totally different. The Konoha ninja were training to combine their energy from a young age, whereas all ninja Joe knew of trained those abilities separate with very different results. They agreed they could learn much from each other. It was mid-morning when Hinata stood up and said, "Forgive me, Joe-san, but I really must take a bath now that Naruto is back from his. These bandages are starting to itch a bit." She saw Naruto walk back into the clearing with his hair still wet and his orange uniform spattered with rust-colored bloodstains despite the fact it was fully clean. His sage coat was slightly tattered, but he looked good to her. "Naruto-kun, you look healthy as ever. Can you make a couple of shadow clones to escort me and guard while I bathe?" Naruto smiled and 4 shadow clones appeared. "Keep Hinata-chan safe, boys." The clones all answered with a yash, and took Hinata where she could clean up and finish healing herself. Joe had to ask, "Those clones were solid, Naruto-san?" One was carrying Hinata-san's clothing for her. "Yeah, shadow clones are solid and can act independently. They take a boatload of chakra though. Hinata-chan could probably make 1 or 2 without risking her life," answered Naruto. "What about you, Naruto-san?" asked Genjiro. "I can spam out hundreds of them without even feeling the drain. My chakra pools are unusually large, and please call me Naruto. This sand makes me feel old." "Just call me Genjiro then, Naruto." "You should probably address Joe-sama though, he's the head of the Hayabusa clan." Naruto blushed. "I'm sorry, I didn't know Joe-sama." "Don't worry about it, Naruto. Joe is fine as long as we're outside the village." "Does Hinata-san prefer informality too?" asked the Hayabusa leader. Naruto scratched his head. "I'm not too sure. She's the heiress to her clan and many call her Hinata-sama, but I just call her Hinata-chan." "We'll have to ask her then," said Joe. "Well, I'm getting hungry again. What do you say you and I catch some lunch, Genjiro?" asked Naruto. "Are you sure you're up to it?" Genjiro asked doubtfully. "You were a wreck when we found you." "I'm fit as can be," said Naruto as he did a standing back flip. "Let's go hunt down a deer or boar so we'll have plenty for dinner too," Genjiro shrugged. "Okay, let me get my gear. Do you need to borrow a bow? I haven't tried to use a bow in years. I might hit one of us instead of our lunch." "I'll be fine with my normal kunai and shuriken," replied Naruto. Genjiro looked a bit confused and then said, "Well, let's start hunting then." And the two set off. Joe sat back in contemplation. Neither one of them carried bows, swords, nunchaku or anything but kunai and shuriken. He assumed they'd lost their gear, but perhaps not. He would ask Hinata when she returned. With Naruto and Genjiro, the two were moving silently through the underbrush eyeing a group of wild boars. They were big, really big. Naruto didn't seem to think much about it, but Genjiro thought that perhaps these boars were unique to the Hayabusa sacred wilderness. It wouldn't be the first time he'd seen unusual, or oversized animals here. Unfortunately, another predator or something spooked them, and the boars took off. Genjiro was going to say they should look for another target, but Naruto bolted after them with visions of roast pigs in his eyes. Genjiro shook his head and took off after Naruto, blaming the young man's exuberance on his youth. He just hoped Naruto didn't get attacked by them. Boars could turn vicious when cornered. 10 minutes later, Genjiro was less than thrilled. The pigs led them through every natural obstacle possible, and Naruto hadn't given up the chase yet. Genjiro rounded a corner and saw Naruto standing there staring at a boar that was 10 foot at the shoulder. Genjiro's good eye widened in terror. The beast was having a stare down with Naruto, and if it charged, the boar would hit with the impact of a speeding bus. Genjiro was even more shocked when the beast spoke. "It was a Mononoke. So you're the one whose presence I felt. Why were you chasing my children, human?" Naruto didn't bat an eyelash. "I was hungry for lunch," he simply said. "Why else would I be chasing pigs all over the forest?" Genjiro almost had a heart attack at the boy's stupidity. The massive beast took a step forward. "And what's to stop me from crushing you, human? If you try, you'll regret it," said Naruto. Genjiro watched silently in terror as Naruto started to glow, and an unseen wind started blowing his coat around. The boar grunted and then charged. Naruto held out his hand and stopped the massive beast dead in its tracks. Genjiro watched as the massive boar and Naruto glared at each other. Neither gave an inch in the battle of wills or strength. After what seemed like an eternity to Genjiro, the beast backed off. "You have stared into the eyes of death and brought it to its knees. I see it in your eyes and stance. You are truly a sage," Naruto said. "If I had known they were summoning animals, I never would have hunted them in the first place." "Please accept my apology," the boar grunted again. "I accept your apology, sage, but I must know, where do you come from? I thought your kind was extinct." "I am Uzumaki Naruto, the Toad Sage of Mount Miyaboku." "Who do I have the honor of speaking to?" "Call me Razorback, Toad Sage. I am a Mononoke of this forest. The great summon realms broke up long ago. I have no doubt of your word, but no one has been to Mount Maiboku in centuries to my knowledge. I was in an accident. I can't seem to summon the toads and I ended up in a land I don't recognize where people don't use chakra. Explained Naruto. Chakra? Razorback said in a shocked tone. That is a word of the old world when the 9 spirit beasts roamed the earth. You mean like the Kyuubi? Asked Naruto. Sage, are you telling me you know the story of the 9-tailed fox Kurama? Kurama? Is that his name? I thought it was Kyuubi. He never told me his name is Kurama. Said Naruto confused. You are a riddle wrapped within an enigma, Toad Sage. To have talked to Lord Kurama you would have to be from the olden days of legend. I do not understand how you got here, but you should solve this mystery. My children and I must go know. I would seek out Mount Maiboku if I were you. Perhaps you will find your answers there. Whatever happened to Kurama, Razorback? It is said that all the spirit beasts were sealed away somehow, but Lord Kurama was a clever fox and vanished from this world. He may still be waiting to return today. That is all I know. Thank you, Razorback. I'd best go back to my friend. He seems a little intimidated by you, said the young sage gratefully. He should be. Farewell, Sage of the Toads. Naruto turned around after bidding Razorback and his family farewell and walked over to Genjiro. Sorry, Genjiro. I was so hungry I didn't realize they were summoning animals. We'll have to catch a regular animal to eat. Genjiro was staring and said, Your eyes, they are like a toad's, and you stopped the charge of that beast like it was nothing. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Oops, he released his sage mode and his eyes turned back to normal. Sorry, I forgot I was still in sage mode. That boar Razorback was strong. He was testing me to see if I was the real deal. I guess I passed his test though. Shadow Clone Jutsu. About 50 Narutos appeared. Go out and find us some grub and bring it back to camp. Genjiro's a bit shaken up. I'm taking him back. His clones saluted and dispersed into the surrounding forest. Let's head back, Genjiro. I think you need a break. I think what I need is a strong drink after that. Joe's not going to believe this. Genjiro muttered as they made their way back to camp. Back at the Hayabusa camp, Hinata returned from the lake feeling cleaned and refreshed. Most of her wounds were healed as they were mainly bruises and cuts. She wasn't in top form, but she figured with a couple more days of healing she would be fine. Her shadow clone escorts brought her back to camp safely and then spread out in a guarding formation in the 4 cardinal directions. She found Joe carefully maintaining a beautiful sword as she approached. That is a superb katana you have there, Joe-san. I can tell you maintain it with great care. Joe sat the blade across his lap. You are a sword wielder, Hinata-san? Oh no. I'm a taijutsu specialist. I've never handled a blade much longer than a kunai. My clan discourages sword use, though I don't agree with them, replied the heiress. They discourage using blades? Asked Joe, very puzzled. Your clan would be at a disadvantage without at least basic sword training. Hinata nodded. I agree, but the clan's doctrines revolve around the Juken style of taijutsu. To step outside of that is frowned upon, although I myself am guilty of it. Joe smirked. So you're a bit of a rebel, Hinata-san? Hinata blushed. It's not that I am a rebel, Joe-san, it is simply a matter of our clan's traditions causing us to stagnate. We have fought the same way for generations and change is needed to survive and adapt to our potential foes. However, our elders do not feel that way about many traditions that I seek to change. Joe nodded in approval of her line of thought. That reminds me, Naruto said that you are your clan's heiress and that you are referred to as Hinata-sama. Do you prefer this? While I am always referred to as Joe-sama as I am the Hayabusa clan head, I much prefer to be informal when outside of clan functions. Joe-sama makes me sound like a stuffy person. I feel the same. Please just call me Hinata or Hinata-san. I'm used to it, but I'm not fond of formalities. Naruto-kun is very informal. He refers to our village leader as Bachan, she said with a giggle. Joe stifled a chuckle of his own. It seems your friend is quite a character. He took Genjiro hunting, although I'm not sure he's fully healed. Hinata explained, Naruto-kun has a healing ability. It is a bloodline of sorts. He can heal overnight from injuries that take others weeks to recover from. If he said he was healthy, I'm sure he was, although he pushes himself too hard sometimes. Their conversation was interrupted when Naruto and Genjiro arrived back at camp. Genjiro was talking agitatedly to Naruto. You act as if you talk to Mononoke on a daily basis. Do you know how insane that sounds? Naruto patted Genjiro on the shoulder. It really wasn't a big deal. Razorback was just protecting his kids. Anyway, no one got hurt, so no harm, no foul, right? Have problems hunting, Genjiro? I see you came back empty-handed, asked Joe. Genjiro looked at Joe bug-eyed. We ran into a massive boar, Mononoke. We're lucky we came back alive, Naruto piped up. Oh, come on, Genjiro. He wasn't that big. I mean, the toad boss is several stories tall. Anyway, after I visited with him, Razorback seemed nice enough. Naruto turned to Hinata. Hi, Hinata-chan. Are you feeling better since you washed up? You look much better. Hinata blushed prettily and replied, I do feel much better now that I clean. What's this about a Mononoke? Genjiro's making a mountain out of a molehill. We were hunting some boars and it turned out they were summoned creatures. After I apologized to the leader Razorback, everything was cool. explained Naruto. By the way, I've got about 50 clones combing the forest for some lunch, so they should be along shortly. At the same time, Joe was listening to Genjiro with raised eyebrows. That boar was the size of a city bus and charged Naruto. Naruto activated his sage powers and stopped it with one hand. Ranted Genjiro. It's not a big deal, Genjiro. Cut in Naruto. Yes, it is, Naruto, retorted Genjiro. Perhaps we should all sit and discuss this quietly instead of scaring the whole forest with the noise, said Joe authoritatively. What exactly happened? Soon Genjiro and Naruto sat down and explained what had happened in detail, although Genjiro's version sounded like they'd had a run-in with the boar god and Naruto acted as if he'd been visiting with Taunton. The whole time Naruto's clones brought in food and were preparing it as Joe and Hinata listened. After they finished, Joe spoke. Judging by your lack of reaction, I'm guessing this sort of thing isn't that uncommon where you are from, Hinata-san? She nodded and Joe smiled to himself. It seems we have made some interesting new friends, Genjiro. Perhaps we could learn some of their ninja ways and teach them some of our own in return. I'm under the impression they will be staying with us here for some time, as we don't know where their home even is or if it still exists. From what that Mononoke said, it sounds as if you come from another time, my young friends. Do you know how crazy that sounds, Joe? Asked Genjiro with a sweat drop. You do realize in this day and age the idea of ninja clans and Mononoke sound ridiculous to most people of this world, Genjiro? Joe quipped back. Point taken. Pouted Genjiro. For better or for worse, it seemed that Hyuga, Hinata and Uzumaki Naruto were in a different time and place. They were pilgrims in an unholy land, the Hayabusa sacred wilderness. It had been 2 weeks since Master Ninja Hayabusa Joe and his comrade Genjiro found Naruto and Hinata. Hinata was fully recovered by this point, and she and Naruto were demonstrating their taijutsu to the older ninjas by practicing on shadow clones. Naruto was using the Toad style, and Hinata was using the Juken style. The two fighting styles were radically different from one another, and Joe was impressed that the two were so formidable bare-handed. They also demonstrated they were excellent with kunai and shuriken. On the other hand, neither knew a thing about swordplay other than how to counter it, and they weren't particularly familiar with bows either, although Hinata seemed to have a knack for it due to her Byakugan. Both veterans agreed that they could teach the basics of handling a bow but decided that anything advanced should be taught by Omitsubaka at the Hayabusa village. Swords and other equipment they could teach easily though, and soon Naruto and Hinata were doing sword katas with practice swords in hopes of gaining some proficiency. Genjiro and Naruto sparred a lot. Genjiro was shocked at the sheer stamina the boy had. He could take a beating for hours and still come back for more. The elder ninja also found out that the Toad style was brutal on the receiving end. Much to Genjiro's delight, Naruto was all for full contact sparring. Most students Genjiro taught wanted him to pull his punches, but Naruto didn't want him to hold back at all. Even when the elder ninja used the practice sword against Naruto, he found that the young Toad sage seemed to have an endless bag of tricks involving his clones and lesser jutsus. The only thing Naruto held back was sage mode. He didn't want to seriously hurt anyone after all. Likewise, Joe found the Juken style to be astounding and unlike anything he'd faced before. The Hyuga girl was also incredibly flexible, which allowed her to avoid hits and sword strikes with remarkable ease. It was almost like she was dancing to an observer. Joe always won due to experience and endurance, but the fact she could keep him occupied and on the defensive sometimes was amazing for someone so young. She normally didn't use chakra in her strikes, but when she did, it hurt like hell. Hinata was trying to see if it was possible to teach the veteran ninjas how to use chakra, but so far it was difficult. In spite of their best efforts, Joe and Genjiro were so used to focusing on spiritual and physical energy separately that combining the two was completely impossible to them. After about a month of training, they decided that Naruto and Hinata were prepared enough to try real swords. Joe wrote a letter to send back to the Hayabusa village for some basic swords and was preparing to send it by falcon when something highly unusual happened. In the night, while he was on watch, he detected an animal that came to the edge of the camp. When he went to investigate, the animal was gone, but it left behind 3 scrolls. Was it another Mononoke? He pondered. He took the 3 scrolls and found they were sealed in some way and would not open. He decided to wait until morning when the others awoke. Hinata was the first up and looked over the scrolls at Joe's behest. One had the Konoha symbol on it, one had the Hyuga clan yin-yang crest, and the last had the Uzumaki swirl. She was completely shocked and woke up Naruto immediately, and Genjiro in the process. Naruto soon examined the scrolls and deciphered the seals on them. While he was not a seal master, he had learned enough from Jiraiya to do the basics. Actually, he had a knack for sealing, but sadly his training in Fuinjutsu was over without any training materials. Apply a bit of chakra to the Hyuga crest, Hinata-chan. Let's see if it opens, instructed Naruto. Hinata agreed and channeled some chakra into the scroll. It unfurled easily then. She opened the scroll and found it was ancient. It is a Juken scroll, Naruto-kun. There are several different types here, including water style. I've never heard of this type before. I wonder if I could use it since I'm a water type. She mused aloud. This scroll was written by Hyuga Harumi. She was my great-great-grandmother. I always heard she was a radical and a black sheep of the family because she altered the Juken style to her needs. I heard all her writings were destroyed. What happened to her, Hinata-chan? Was she punished? Naruto asked, concerned. Hinata smiled. Actually, they attempted to throw her out of the main family, and brand her with the caged bird seal. As it turned out, she was so strong that she defeated all her detractors and later married the clan head I'm descended of. I always idolized her because I wanted to change the clan too. I'm sure I have much I can learn from this, she exclaimed. Joe stood looking over her shoulder perplexed. I hate to say this, Hinata-san, but isn't this a little too convenient? Who had this scroll and why? You have a mysterious benefactor that obviously knows you or your clan at least, and we have no idea at all who it is. That scroll is well preserved, but it's obviously hundreds of years old. I have to agree with Joe, Hinata, said Genjiro suspiciously. Someone must have been observing us for some time and decided to drop off this little treasure for an unknown reason. Let's check the other two scrolls, interjected Naruto. I want to see what's in them. Go ahead, Naruto-kun. I hope there are things you can learn too, said Hinata excitedly. Naruto applied chakra to the Uzumaki swirl, and like the Hyuga scroll, it came open easily. Naruto immediately started reading. It's a scroll in the whirlpool style of Kenjutsu, and some medium to advanced Fuinjutsu. This is amazing. I'm going to have to ask the various summoned animals, and see if they know something. It looks like it was written by Uzumaki Kensuke. I've never heard of him. What about the last scroll, Naruto? Asked Genjiro. Good question. Let's find out, said Naruto as he applied chakra to the last scroll. When it opened, 2 sheathed blades and several smaller scrolls fell out. These scrolls all look new, as if someone wrote them recently, said Joe. He picked up the katana-sized blade and unsheathed it. It looked pristine and had a blue tinge about it. This is a beautiful blade. I wonder about the color though. I've never seen one quite like it. He noticed Naruto and Hinata staring at the blade with awe in their eyes. That's chakra metal. It's worth a fortune, exclaimed Hinata. Chakra metal? I've never seen the like. Why is it so valuable? Asked Genjiro. It can conduct chakra, explained Naruto. I'll show you. May I see that katana, Joe? Joe nodded and handed the blade over. Naruto took the blade over to a tree stump and slashed it. The blade made a slice in the wood like it was paper. Well, obviously it's a good blade to cut so cleanly, spoke Genjiro. Hinata spoke up. Naruto-kun, channel your wind chakra through it and show them the difference. Sure thing, Hinata-chan. Naruto streamed wind chakra through the blade and it glowed slightly to everyone's eye. Watch now, said Naruto as he sliced again. The blade cut the entire stump in half, and the wind blade emitted from it dug a furrow in the ground and sliced a large rock in half as well. Genjiro was slack-jawed and Joe's eyebrows were raised as high as they would go. Naruto sheathed the blade and said, As you can see, a sword like this would be highly coveted in the elemental countries. He looked at the hilt of the blade. Damn, the inscription on it says it was forged in Iron Country. No wonder it's such high quality. Here, Genjiro, try it out and try putting your ki into it. Maybe it will channel that as well. Genjiro graciously accepted the sword from Naruto and tested the weight, balance and sharpness of the sword with a few practice swings. This blade is perfectly balanced and incredibly sharp. It was obviously created by a master swordsmith. After a few swipes with it, he tried channeling ki into as if he was going to do ninpo. The blade glowed faintly yellow and sliced through the hapless stump they were practicing on, leaving scorch marks and the smell of ozone in the air. Let me guess, you were trying a lightning ninpo? Asked Naruto. Genjiro nodded. Yes, I was trying a minor electric shock ninpo that stuns an enemy. This katana is simply amazing. Joe tried it out as well, using a fire ninpo with equally impressive results. The stump had been partially reduced to charcoal where it made contact. I must say, I've never seen the like, Naruto. This blade is superb. Treasure it well. Naruto accepted the blade back from Joe and turned to Hinata. What about that kodachi, Hinata-chan? It looks perfect in size for you. Hinata pulled the kodachi from its sheath and examined it. It says this was made in Kiri on the hilt. This is made of chakra metal too, she said, admiring the jet black blade. Try it out, Hinata-chan, said Naruto excitedly. Hinata giggled. Very well, just for you, she replied as she tried it on what remained of the stump. It cut clean, but when she added water chakra to it, the blade turned the water to ice and completely shattered the remnants of the stump. Wow, it seems this blade was made specifically for water and ice users. The others tried it out and sure enough, only water and ice worked with it. The Hayabusa ninja were stunned. They wondered if old Muramasa would know about chakra metal. From what Naruto and Hinata were describing, these were rare, high-quality blades but not truly legendary ones. Still, even if these blades weren't on par with the dragon sword, they were certainly very powerful in their own right. The two veterans listened with rapt attention to the stories of the samurai of Iron Country and the 7 swordsmen of the mist from Kiri. It seemed that the blades were indeed from legendary times. This begged the question, who left them here for Hinata and Naruto? Naruto quickly checked the smaller scrolls that were packed in with the swords. These are all C to be ranked jutsus of all elements, Hinata-chan. This is a gold mine, he exclaimed. Really? Whoever our benefactor is must be extremely generous, said Hinata. It also means that person is dangerous though. They obviously have been observing the 4 of us for some time to know exactly what we needed, Naruto-kun. I agree, but there are so many summoned creatures running around here that a regular chakra signature would be easy to camouflage, explained Naruto. Even with my sensory ninjutsu it would be difficult to detect someone skilled. I wonder if I could track down Razorback and ask him. He seems pretty knowledgeable. It's worth a shot, Naruto-kun, she replied. Naruto went into sage mode and sat down, reaching out with his senses. He detected many Mononoke all around and sensed the key signatures of Joe and Genjiro. Though it wasn't clear, he found that Joe was at least Sannin level whereas Genjiro seemed to be on par with an elite Jonin. Needless to say, he was very impressed even if he was only gauging their spiritual energy. Of course, he and Hinata already knew their impromptu senseis were very powerful and worthy of respect. It was just one thing to say it, and another to see it, so to speak. He guessed Hinata had known all along because of her Byakugan. Speaking of Hinata, the young woman seemed to have grown in confidence by leaps and bounds over the last month. She hardly even stuttered now. Naruto hadn't ever noticed how beautiful she was or how much he liked her gentle voice or her laugh. He was amazed such a kunoichi would have such strong feelings for him. The two had spent a great deal of time talking and spending time together when they weren't training. They agreed to get to know each other better as friends and see how it went from there. Naruto was a bit shocked at how well she knew him and how little he knew about her. Rather than be discouraged about their circumstances, Hinata had looked at the situation as a new chance to learn and grow. Naruto was very impressed with her, and often found his thoughts drifting to her. Naruto focused back on the task and found nothing out of the ordinary, for a forest full of summoned creatures. His sensory ninjutsu having failed, the young sage created about 50 shadow clones to seek out various Mononoke, and asked them if they knew anything about the Konoha ninjas, mysterious benefactor. It would be days before they found out anything, but all the various Mononoke would say is there was a forest guardian spirit that had helped them out for countless generations. They felt that Naruto and Hinata were blessed by this benevolent guardian for whatever reason. Razorback himself said he believed the guardian had been there since time immemorial. For the time being it was to remain a mystery, although Naruto had the distinct impression that somewhere, someone was safely hidden away laughing at their attempts to find him or/it. On the other hand, they felt whoever was helping them deserved their eternal gratitude. It wasn't long after that Joe received the clothing and supplies that he'd sent for from the Hayabusa village. As it turned out, many of the kunoichis back home thought that he and Genjiro were up to something perverted when they requested kunoichi clothing. The two were at a loss when they read a particularly scathing letter from Omitsu saying they'd better have a good explanation when they got back. The normally unflappable Joe was absolutely dumbstruck by the various accusations. Needless to say, Naruto thought it was hysterical. For some odd reason Joe was particularly sadistic in his training of Naruto that day. Naruto's clones searched throughout the forest looking for this mysterious guardian but had no luck. On the 5th day since Naruto and Hinata received the clothes from the Hayabusa village, Genjiro saw a strange sight while out hunting for lunch. A silver rabbit standing on its hind legs marched over to him with a sense of purpose. The rabbit had an eye patch, leather samurai armor and a wakizashi strapped on his side. I am Yagyu, dragon ninja. I have traveled here to see this self-declared toad sage that many in this forest speak of. You will take me to him immediately, said the rabbit in a steely voice. Genjiro stared at the rabbit Mononoke, and wondered how a diminutive 3.5-foot rabbit could sound so authoritative. Are you deaf, human? Lead me to the self-proclaimed sage, growled Yagyu. After the talking bore business, Genjiro figured he might as well go along with it, and said, Follow me, Yagyu-san. That's Yagyu-sama to you, dragon ninja, replied the rabbit. Genjiro sighed. I'll never understand these Mononoke, he thought to himself. Plastering on a fake smile, Genjiro said, Of course, Yagyu-sama, while he fantasized about making some nice rabbit stew. The two traveled back to the camp in silence. When they made it to the clearing they found Joe and Hinata sparring. Hinata now sported a light blue training gi and wore her lavender coat over it. Naruto was sitting Indian style on the ground meditating. He had a black gi and had his red and black sage coat over it. Yagyu stared at Naruto a moment and said, This is the so-called sage? Stand up, boy, and greet me with the proper respect. Naruto didn't budge an inch. He either didn't hear Yagyu or was ignoring the rabbit. Very well, boy. I will teach you proper respect. The rabbit moved as a blur, drawing his wakizashi in the process. The others cried out as Yagyu aimed to take Naruto's head off at the neck, only to be completely blown away by a Rasengan that hit him directly in the chest. Yagyu spun wildly through the air until he collided painfully with the tree and dropped his sword. Naruto was still sitting with his arm extended as he dispelled his Rasengan. Yagyu came around moments later coughing in pain and looked up. He saw Naruto towering over him in sage mode with a scowl on his face. I don't know who you think you are, rabbit, but respect from me is earned, not given. Why did you come here and why did you attack me when I was obviously meditating? It's rather rude, you know, Yagyu groaned. Forgive me, sage, but I was sent to test you to see if you were truly worthy of the title. He coughed again. I apologize for my trespass. Please call me Yagyu. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Yagyu. If you promise to do no more attempts at harming us, we will see about tending your wounds. If you don't promise, I will shatter your sword and with it you honor as a swordsman. Yagyu's one eye opened wide in fright at the thought of losing his sword that now was in Naruto's hands. I give you my solemn vow as a samurai I will not raise a hand against you or your friends. He croaked out. Naruto smiled and released his sage mode and said, Good. I'll carry you over to Hinata-chan and see if she can patch you up. A few minutes later Hinata had removed the torn-up chest armor from Yagyu and was using the mystic palm technique to heal his upper body. Luckily for Yagyu, Naruto used a low-powered Rasengan, so other than some serious bruising he was alright with no broken ribs. There we are, Yagyu-san. You'll still be tender for a while but most of it is taken care of, said Hinata kindly. Thank up, Hinata-san. You are very skilled as a healer. I am in your debt. Yagyu sat up and looked at his shredded armor. It had held, but Yagyu had no doubt Naruto chose to spare him. Naruto-sama, there have been no sages for centuries, so no one believed you were one, but all doubts have been cleared from my mind. Thank you for sparing my life. Don't think anything of it, said Naruto. I don't believe in killing if I can help it. Besides, the 6 friends of yours hiding in the underbrush surrounding us would have hated me if I killed you without mercy. Yagyu looked around embarrassed, and 6 large sweat drops formed in the bushes surrounding the camp. Naruto laughed. You all can come out now. Various rabbits dressed as archers with bows came out into the clearing looking rather depressed. One with a bandana asked, How long did you know we were there, sage? Naruto shook his head amused. You arrived and set up your points to shoot from 10 minutes before Yagyu arrived. He was walking intentionally slow. Gee, I feel kind of outclassed, said a brown rabbit. Ditto, agreed a black one. Well, if there is a sage among us we must inform the elders of our tribe. We want to avoid conflict, said another brown rabbit that was gray around the muzzle. That was reckless, Yagyu. You were supposed to challenge him to a spar. Yagyu kneeled. I am sorry, Uncle Toru. You know I hate being ignored. Toru rapped his nephew on the head. You may be among our strongest, but you are certainly not the wisest. Toru turned to Naruto. Sage, I ask that you forgive my nephew's brashness. He inherited it from his mother's side. Naruto nodded in agreement, and Toru continued. If I may ask, do you claim this forest as yours now? We do not wish to fight you, and the dragon ninja were unaware of us Mononoke, so we never bothered with them. Genjiro had a rain cloud over his head. Now I'm being talked down about by a bunch of rabbits. What is this world coming to? For his part, Joe was more curious than anything. He'd never heard of a group of rabbit Mononoke, and he wondered how long they'd been hidden in the sacred wilderness. Hinata couldn't help herself. In spite of all her kunoichi training, she wanted to yell out kawaii, but kept herself in check and examined them with her Byakugan. As she suspected, adorable or not, they had chakra. Naruto surprised Toru with his answer. I'm not claiming any territory, and I don't wish to disturb the balance of things in any way. I would like to count the rabbits among my friends, though. What you lack in stature is more than made up in strength and speed. Toru was surprised but hid it well. I will tell the elders of your wishes. Thank you, sage, and consider rabbits visiting the area among your allies. Toru bowed and grabbed Yagyu and forced him to bow as well. The other rabbits followed suit. Naruto and the others returned the gesture, and the rabbit clan members disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto put his hands behind his head and stretched. Well, that was interesting, Hinata-chan? I sensed they had chakra. Did you as well? Hinata nodded. Yes, Naruto-kun. When I looked at them with my Byakugan, they all had around Genin-level chakra except Yagyu and Toru that were high Chunin. Then she squealed, and they were so cute. Hinata blushed as the others chuckled at her reaction. I guess they were really cute, Hinata-chan. Still, they were dangerous even if they looked like stuffed animals. I would have hated to battle them, laughed Naruto. That evening, a messenger falcon arrived from the Hayabusa village. Reading the contents of the message, Joe said grimly, We have to head back. It seems my former brother-in-law Murai is up to something. His shadow ninja have been seen about and are violating our neutrality with them. We leave in the morning, Genjiro. Naruto, Hinata, I can't ask you to get involved in clan affairs that may put you in danger, but you are welcome to stay here and train if you wish. Actually, we know nothing of this region, Joe-sama, so Naruto-kun and I would like to accompany you if you will allow it. Hinata said sincerely. We have already discussed this at length, and would be honored if you would let us travel with you to your village. Perhaps it would provide us with clues of where we are in relation to the elemental countries, provided they still exist. It could be a treacherous path. The shadow ninjas are led by a rogue from the Hayabusa clan and are not to be taken lightly, said Joe. Naruto's eyes glowed slightly in the dimming evening light. Then it will be a chance for Hinata-chan and I to test our skills, he replied, grinning fairly. After we've made it past them and into your village, perhaps we can train with this Omitsu woman you both fear so greatly, added Hinata with humor in her voice. Genjiro looked slightly panicked, and then said, Joe and I most certainly do not fear Omitsu, but we have a great deal of respect for her. Hinata giggled. You can't hide fear from these eyes, Genjiro. Your pulse is elevated and you are perspiring. At least Joe-sama hides it better. You are on your way to becoming a dangerous kunoichi, Hinata. Joe replied dubiously before Genjiro stuck his foot in his mouth again. But seriously, Omitsu could be scary as hell. Alright, my young friends, seeing your minds are set, you may join us, but since we have years of experience over you and know the territory, I expect you to obey our orders if a combat situation arises. Hi, Joe-sama, replied the two Konoha ninja. Nodding in agreement, the group settled in for the night with Naruto's shadow clones pulling guard duty so they all would be well rested. In the morning the group suited up, Naruto and Hinata back in their stained combat gear with their GIs packed conveniently in scrolls, and set out for the Hayabusa village. The group moved at a brisk pace for days. Eventually they made it to the sea of trees near the Hayabusa village. Naruto and Hinata took to the trees and Hinata used her Byakugan periodically to search for hostiles while Joe and Genjiro maneuvered along the practically non-existent paths, with swiftness only a master could use. It was around noon that Hinata spotted something and signaled Naruto to drop out of the canopy with her, and informed the others. She reported, "There are small groups of 4 to 5 ninjas surrounding a village about 7 miles north of here. They appear to be information gathering as they are stationary and camouflaged. They are probably watching for patrol routes and schedules in and out of the village." "Is there anything notable about the village?" asked Joe. Hinata nodded. "It is compact and is overlooked by a fortification that has multiple dragon motifs on it. It looks very well constructed from this range." "Your eyes are truly amazing, Hinata," said Genjiro. "What you've described is the castle of the dragon that has looked over the Hayabusa village for centuries. It's well hidden and ordinarily you can't even see it unless you know where to look." Naruto sat down and used his sensory ninjutsu. "The closest team isn't that far away from us, and they don't have a lot of ki. They're probably not that highly ranked. We should capture them and interrogate them. Let's look for a group that's more isolated from the others," said Joe. "We don't want them to alert the other teams. Hinata, can you see a group that suits our purpose?" Hinata nodded and silently shot back up into the canopy along with Naruto. They came back down 10 minutes later. "There are 6 groups surrounding the village. The one furthest northwest past the village is hidden in a grove they couldn't signal anyone from except by radio. They seem to be having a meal and don't have a sentry," she said as she drew a map on the ground. "They are more out of the way but I believe our chances of success are high. The fact you were on a scouting team really shows, Hinata-chan," Naruto praised. She smiled in return. "It will take about 20 extra minutes to get there," said Genjiro, analyzing the basic map Hinata drew. "Let's do this," said Joe. "We'll capture one of them quick and clean and dispose of the rest. I want you 2 youngsters in the trees above them. Any that escape our initial attack I want you to take out with kunai and shuriken. Make sure they're dead before they can signal anyone." "Understood?" The 2 Konoha ninja nodded, realizing that mercy wasn't an option. As they shot through the canopy, Naruto asked, "Are you going to be okay, Hinata-chan?" "Jiraiya taught me how to kill but I don't like it at all." "I'll be alright, Naruto-kun. I've had to kill before too," she said reassuringly. Soon they arrived at the enemy's location. The young pair watched from above as Joe cut 3 ninjas down effortlessly and Genjiro knocked out another. The 5th and last one tried to run but a shuriken to the throat from Hinata and a kunai to the head from Naruto made sure he stayed silent forever. Joe looked up at the younger ninjas and nodded. Hinata stayed in the canopy to remain on lookout and Naruto came down to pull the corpse back into the grove with the others. Naruto felt a bit ill pulling the bloody kunai and shuriken out of the dead shadow ninja, but recovery of their particular weapons was rather vital as they had no way to replace them. Soon the 4 dead shadow ninjas' bodies were hidden and the captive one was still unconscious. "Are you alright, Naruto?" asked Genjiro, concerned. "You don't look too good. I will never get used to killing," Naruto simply stated. Joe put a hand on his shoulder. "You and Hinata are too young to be completely used to killing. If you accepted it as normal I would be truly concerned. Others may tell you otherwise, but as a master ninja I can tell you it takes years to get used to, and even then taking a life isn't easy. We should discuss this along with Hinata once we are safely back in the village. Right now I need you both focused. Head back up and keep Hinata company." Naruto nodded and hopped back into the trees to relay what Joe said to Hinata. Genjiro and Joe interrogated the shadow ninja and found they were looking for the whereabouts of the dark dragon blade, and that was all he knew. "For what purpose?" pondered Joe. After they disposed of the last shadow ninja they signaled the other 2 to come down. "We're heading to the village covertly," explained Joe. "We can send out patrols to eliminate the remaining shadow ninja camps without them being any the wiser that we know why they are here. Follow Genjiro and I closely, you two." The 4 ninjas stealthily moved low among the trees through a series of winding paths that led to a hidden entrance to the village. After slipping through the hidden passage it opened, and waiting on the other side was a woman in shrine maiden garb that wore a magatama on a rosary around her neck. It was glowing fiercely, and she had an equally fearsome look upon her face. Around her were several dragon ninjas with blades drawn. Joe was a bit puzzled that anyone would be there to meet them. The entrance was a secret save to a select few. "Kureha, why have you brought our people to this hidden entrance? It is not to be revealed except in dire emergencies. Why is the eye of the dragon glowing so?" "Forgive me, Joe-sama, but this is a dire emergency," answered the now named Kureha. "The eye of the dragon has been giving me visions of something from before the age of myth. I do not know if it is good or evil, but I must investigate it before I can allow it to enter our village." "What is it?" asked Joe commandingly. Kureha could tell Joe was not pleased but simply pointed at Naruto. "It is contained within him." Naruto looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Sadness filled his eyes. "Even here I am hated for what I am," he said solemnly. I will leave Joe-sama. I don't wish to disturb your village or its people. Hinata hugged him gently to comfort him. By no means will you be thrown from this village, said Joe in a tone that would brook no opposition. We will sit down and discuss this rationally. Everyone put your blades away and return to your duties. He turned to Genjiro. Organize a hunting party and wipe out those camps. Genjiro, Kureha, I and our 2 guests will sit down to discuss things rationally and not at sword point. Everyone turned to their duties, not being able to look Joe in the eye. Genjiro patted Naruto on the shoulder and said, It will work out, my friend. Kureha, lead us to the shrine where we will talk. He turned to his left. You can join us too, Ryu. Come out here, my son. Hayabusa. Ryu came out of the shadows looking a little embarrassed his father spotted him so easily. The dragon shrine. A few minutes later, Kureha was the last to sit down. She was directly across from Naruto. The group had been briefly introduced, and it was revealed that Ryu was the heir of the Hayabusa clan, and he was about 20. Naruto and Hinata revealed they were 15. Ryu was highly suspicious of Naruto, and didn't want him in striking range of Kureha, hence the seating arrangement. He didn't know what to think of Hinata, but he assumed she was blind. Joe said calmly. Tell me what visions you have seen, Kureha, and we will try to make sense of it. I have interacted with Naruto for some time and I find it difficult to believe he is evil as you say. The shrine maiden shook her head. I never said I was certain he was evil, but that my vision said I must determine if what he contains is good or evil. Joe-sama. Contains? Explain yourself, Kureha, commanded Joe. It would be easier if I explained it, Joe-sama, interjected Naruto. Joe nodded in assent. Naruto explained, I am the container of the 9-tailed fox, Kyubi no Kitsune. His name is Kurama and he is a tailed beast. He was sealed in me on the day of my birth to prevent him from destroying my home village of Konoha. Many viewed me as a demon in human form because I contained the fox, but I have always sought to prove them wrong by doing good things. Kurama is full of hate and malice and is not happy about being imprisoned within me. People like me who contain tailed beasts are called Jinchuriki, and generally are hated for what we contain and are viewed as weapons to be used by our villages. Kureha gasped. Kurama? The greatest of the spirit beasts? How? Ryu looked more disturbed at Kureha's reaction than Naruto's explanation. Kureha? He asked, seeing her shocked expression. Kureha stood up. Forgive me, but I must retrieve one of the ancient texts we have stored. All of you please wait here, she said as she departed rapidly. Were you intending to share this information with me, Naruto? Asked Joe. I planned to eventually, Joe-sama, but I have had such a stigma all my life that I was afraid to. I didn't mean to deceive you. Joe frowned. Then these sage powers of yours actually come from the fox? I didn't sense any evil. I felt harmony when you used those powers. Naruto shook his head. No, my sage powers are drawn from nature around me. The fox's powers are beyond my ability to control fully. I never use them unless there is absolutely no other choice. Joe was about to comment when Kureha came back and toting a huge, ancient-looking scroll. When she sat it down with a thump, a cloud of dust rose from it. Sorry it took so long. It has been in storage a long time, she said. Everyone fanned the dust away from their noses and eyes. What is in this scroll? Asked Ryu curiously. This scroll, she said as she unrolled it, is said to contain stories from before the age of myth and the emergence of the Dark Dragon. I remember the tale of the 9 spirit beasts, and Lord Kurama was the greatest and wisest of them. Let me find the passages and I will read them. The others sat in silence as they waited. It took Kureha a few minutes before she pointed out a particular passage. 9 spirit beasts were created to help maintain balance in the world but were corrupted and used by humans craving power. They were controlled and used as weapons against others. In the end all were sealed away and destroyed, causing a cataclysm save the strongest and wisest, who was a 9-tailed Kitsune Lord Kurama. It is said that he was clever and tricky, and was able to avoid the fate of his brethren as a result. No one knows where Lord Kurama went, or if he will return. This was before the Dark Dragon? Asked Ryu incredulously. Kureha nodded. Yes. It is said the cataclysm caused by the destruction of the spirit beasts caused an imbalance, and the Dark Dragon emerged as a result. Perhaps if the spirit beasts had been left alone, order would have been maintained, the evil deities would not have come into this world. Naruto asked, I'm sorry, but who are these evil deities? The Dark Dragon and the evil deities are the enemies of the heavenly dragons and the dragon clan of ninjas since time immemorial. Kureha explained. It is our sacred duty to keep them and their fiend armies locked away from the world to this day. Naruto and Hinata reflected on this for a while until Kureha asked, Now, how is it Lord Kurama vanished and then showed up in you in modern times? Hinata and Naruto related how they ended up in this era and were found by Joe and Genjiro. They explained Akatsuki were gathering the tailed beasts to create a weapon and that the reason they never captured Kurama was he traveled with them to this era. To say Kureha and Ryu were shocked was an understatement. So these Akatsuki tried to make a weapon with the 8 spirit beasts they captured and it backfired, causing masses of destruction. Joe surmised. It also set mankind's technology back several centuries because you had things like radios back then, and it took centuries for civilization to catch up to the level you were at. If I hadn't seen the things you can do with chakra and all of your interactions with various mononokis, I would have said this was science fiction. So what do we do? Asked Naruto. From your scrolls, Kurama originally wasn't a bad guy, but he's been so twisted and filled with hate by humans that all he has left is malice. Perhaps there is a way to contact him and explain the situation. Lord Kurama would make a great ally in keeping the peace, stated Kureha. Naruto shook his head. I can contact him in my mindscape, but we don't get along at all. I think if we asked for his help he would simply feel we were trying to use him like others have before. To be honest, I hated the fox with a passion because of the awful times I had growing up because he was sealed in me. Now I kind of feel bad about it since he's been a victim as much as I have. Perhaps you should go into your mindscape and try to reason with him, Naruto-kun, said Hinata. This situation changes everything for us as well as him. I'll try, Hinata-chan, said Naruto as he settled into a meditative stance. Naruto's mindscape. The sewers that Naruto was so familiar with seemed to have a higher water level than usual. Naruto sighed and wondered how this would turn out. He really felt bad about the whole situation and figured the fox would be furious when Naruto told him what had happened. He wasn't even sure the fox would believe him. Instinctively following the paths towards Kurama's cell, he entered the room he'd faced the fox in before so many times and promised himself he would not argue with the fox. As he came into the room, he saw Kurama in all his glory with hind nine tails twitching about agitatedly. Naruto, said Kurama, you have no right to use that name, human, roared Kurama angrily. All my brothers and sisters are dead because of you humans. I heard everything because of that jewel around the shrine maiden's neck. He howled in anger. I knew I couldn't feel their presence anymore and wondered why. Kurama turned to glare out Naruto. Are you happy now? That's when Naruto noticed it. Kurama's eyes were full of tears. The water level, it's because of your tears, isn't it? It was more of a statement than a question. All I wanted was to get revenge against you humans for what you did to me. Kurama paced back and forth angrily. Now we are in a different time and place. The very ones I wanted to destroy are long dead. The fools destroyed themselves. Now I don't even have revenge to cling to. There's nothing left for me now, he said with sorrow filling every word. You have me, said Naruto quietly. What of it? You're just an idiot human, replied Kurama in a cynical tone. Naruto sat upon the water. You and I and Hinata-chan are all that's left of our era. We're missed to modern people. Don't you think we could stop fighting and try just this once to get along? I'm so tired of conflict. Like you said, everyone you wanted to get revenge on is dead. Can't you let go of your hatred? As much as I hate to admit it, we've both lost everything. Even if you and I never become friends, could we at least try to be allies? We have nothing to gain by hating each other now. Kurama cocked his head to one side. Let me think about it. I can't refute what you're saying, and I too am tired of conflict. Come back in a few days and we will talk. I need to clear my head. All right. I'll think about things too, and please call me Naruto. Maybe someday you'll allow me to use your name too. Naruto vanished from his mindscape, leaving Kurama alone to think. Maybe the kid is right. We've lost everything, so what is the point in us fighting? Maybe we can figure out about what ended our world if we work together, thought the ancient fox. He closed his exhausted eyes to sleep. Naruto opened his eyes. He saw the others watching him. How did it go, Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata, concerned. Kurama heard everything we said because of the Eye of the Dragon, explained Naruto. He was very upset. We talked for a little while and I asked him to be my ally. He said he would think about it. We have nothing to lose and everything to gain by cooperating. Maybe if we become allies someday we could eventually become friends. I hope that's not just wishful thinking on my part. It sounds like you two have a very complicated relationship, said Joe. He just found out his family is dead. He needs time to think. Naruto explained. I'm going to contact him again in a few days. Maybe we can work something out. I used to think the fox was evil incarnate, but seeing his reaction to the situation I don't think that anymore. Joe nodded, satisfied with Naruto's answer. I see no reason why Hinata and Naruto shouldn't be able to stay in the village. I have judged them trustworthy, and they have nowhere else to go. As our shrine maiden, what is your verdict, Kureha? Kureha bowed to Naruto and Hinata. I humbly welcome you to the Hayabusa village, Naruto-san and Hinata-san. Please accept my apology for my initial rudeness, but as I am a guardian of this village I had to be sure. Thank you all, said Hinata as she and Naruto bowed in return. We will be sure to follow the rules of the Hayabusa village and not cause any trouble. Please consider us your allies, Joe-sama. If you need our help, all you have to do is ask. Excellent. Let's find you two a place to stay for the night. I look forward to your help in the future, Joe stated with an approving smile. The Hayabusa village. It had been 4 months since Naruto and Hinata joined the Hayabusa village as their guests. It had been hard. Hearing that the elemental nations were wiped out and they could truly never go home had been a real shock to Naruto and Hinata and left them devastated as Kurama was. The first month they were in the Hayabusa village they were deep in a slump of depression. Hinata wept for her family nightly and was consoled by Naruto many times. They now had a small house in the village they shared. The two had become good friends and maybe more. At this point Naruto knew he really liked Hinata, but he wasn't sure he loved her just yet. Naruto and Kurama's relationship had changed as well. The two agreed that they should start anew as allies at least. Naruto found that Kurama was very wise, though obnoxious at times, and could help him learn from the Fuinjutsu scrolls. They also found they could talk mentally without Naruto entering his mindscape. Though they weren't the best of friends, they at least were accepting of each other. For his part, Kurama actually found out Naruto was a good listener, and he spoke of the Sage of Six Paths and many events that happened in the old world. They decided together they would solve the mystery of what ended their world someday. Right now the resolve of all three time travelers was to train and grow stronger. Hinata and Naruto both befriended many in the village, and after a bit of a cold spell, Hayabusa Ryu had become friends with them, and began training them in earnest to improve their skills. Naruto was learning the fast, unpredictable whirlpool style of Kenjutsu from the scrolls he had under Ryu's careful guidance. Likewise, Hinata was learning a more traditional style of swordplay, but given her flexibility and her Byakugan, her style resembled an extension of her water-style Jukanat. She was eagerly learning. She seemed to flow like water itself around her opponents, and Joe helped her develop a unique style all her own. They also were training under Omitsu with the bow, and while Naruto's skill was passable, Hinata's was outstanding. Her eyes gave her a virtual sniper's scope, so her aim was uncanny even at long range. Amidst this, they also managed to make friends with the villagers, and the children loved them in particular. The ability to walk on walls and ceilings was absolutely fascinating to the youngsters. The fact Hinata could see through things and even behind her was even more exciting to them. She did make a point to tell others she respected their privacy. The Byakugan's abilities kinda freaked some people out at first. The young ninja Sanji made learning about chakra one of his goals, and Hinata and Naruto were attempting to teach him. They also accompanied Ryu to the Mugen Tenshin village a couple of times and met the young clan leader Hate among others. Joe came to see Naruto and Hinata at their home to inform them of some things. Naruto, Hinata, since the Shadow Ninja problem seems to have subsided, I am heading back to the Sacred Wilderness to continue my training. I want you two to stay here and continue your training under the others. Ryu will be in charge, and I expect you to support him and continue taking missions as you have with me. You two have livened up our quiet village, and I hope you continue to live here while I am away to train. Until we meet again. Both Naruto and Hinata joined the others in a quiet send-off for Joe, and Naruto once again saw a particular falcon that he knew was a Mononoke. The falcon never spoke to him and seemed to keep a watchful eye over the village. At first the bird watched Naruto and Hinata with a great deal of suspicion, but once its curiosity was satisfied it went back to acting as if it was a normal bird. None of the villagers seemed to know a Mononoke was among them, but since the Hayabusa clan's most revered animal was the peregrine falcon, it was in no danger of being hurt. There, 2 months later, Hinata and Naruto were sitting in the sea of trees having a small dinner. The Mugen Tenshin Kunoichi Iane had asked Ryu to come and see his maternal uncle Mirai for unknown reasons, so they were patrolling around outside the village at Ryu's behest. Many of the village inhabitants were away training now, such as their friend Momiji, who was Kureha's younger sister. They were a few miles from the Hayabusa village when Naruto's sensory ninjutsu picked up something truly evil. Hinata-chan, look towards the village. Something really bad is happening. Hinata activated her Byakugan, and then her eyes widened. It's an army of samurai? Naruto-kun, we have to go now. By the time the two young ninja made it to the village, the temple and many buildings were already in flames. They saw the samurai were cutting down all in their path. Naruto was about to enter sage mode when he heard stop from above him. Naruto and Hinata looked up and saw the falcon Mononoke above them. Do not fight the samurai sage. It is a battle you cannot win. Both of you must use your skills to rescue those still alive. I will watch over the Hayabusa heir. Will you help me? Naruto and Hinata were torn. Naruto heard Kurama's voice. It is as he said, Naruto. Whatever that thing is leading them is out of our league. We have to choose our battles carefully. Alright, Falcon, where should we go first? Asked Naruto with regret in his voice. The Falcon seemed to let out a sigh of relief. Go to the shrine first. Your many clones can spirit survivors away to where your Kunoichi companion can heal them. Naruto turned to Hinata. Wait at the hidden entrance we used to first enter the village for me, Hinata-chan. I'll sneak survivors back to you. Hinata kissed his cheek. I'll be waiting there, Naruto-kun. Be careful and come back to me safely. With that she dashed off into the darkness. Naruto said to the Falcon, we'll discuss this when it's over. The Falcon nodded its head and flew off into the night. Naruto focused his chakra. Shadow Clone Jutsu, you know what to do, boys. He said as the army of shadow clones hinged into random ninja. Distract the samurai and get our friends out. I'm heading towards the shrine. With that, Naruto and his clones rushed into the village and hoped for the best. Slaughter was everywhere. Naruto wanted to get sick as he used chakra to hop across the roofs of intact structures and raced towards the shrine. When he arrived, he saw the form of a massive samurai general that clearly was the main source of the evil he sensed outside the village. The being was cutting down ninjas left and right. Naruto dashed down following the monster's path of destruction and hoped to save somebody, anybody from it. He saw the samurai general behead a senior Hayabusa ninja and then turned his attention to Kureha. Naruto formed two clones and hoped for the best as he body flickered into the burning shrine to look for survivors. Hayabusa Ryu arrived in time to see the same senior ninja beheaded that Naruto saw from the opposite direction. He then saw the monster slay his dear friend Kureha. Ryu rushed to confront him and engaged the general in a fierce duel, but in the end the fiend was victorious, and left Ryu's broken body behind along with so many others. Now unopposed, the general left triumphant with the dark dragon blade in hand. No one noticed Kureha's body disappeared in a puff of smoke. I hope that falcon keeps his word, said Naruto to himself, as he carried the unconscious Kureha towards the place he hoped Hinata was waiting for him. Kureha was bleeding badly. Naruto reached the hidden entrance, and his clones ushered him in to see Hinata. Hinata-chan, I have Kureha. She's hurt badly. Hinata gasped and motioned some of the others to clear a space to lay Kureha down. She gulped and said, I'll do all I can, Naruto-kun. You have to go out and find others. Most of those here are children. Naruto searched throughout the night, slaying the remaining samurai and mages, acting as a rear guard with his chakra blade. He found the injured and unconscious Ryu and knew the Falcon Mononoke had something to do with the dragon ninja even being alive. He'd seen Ryu get cut down and knew there was no other explanation for the clan heir's survival. The next morning Naruto stood guard at the hidden entrance of the village in case the samurai returned. There was no sign of them, but he had to remain vigilant. His clones were watching over the wounded and helping where they could. Hinata was worn out and was sleeping off chakra exhaustion. Of the 54 people he managed to rescue last night, 41 would survive thanks to Hinata's healing jutsus. This included Kureha, Ryu and Ain, who apparently was in Murai's employ. Naruto considered sending a clone to Murai to inform him she was alive, but knowing the man was a rogue ninja, he felt the young Kunoichi would be better off in their care. Genjiro returned with Momiji in tow a few hours later. Momiji sensed something was wrong as a shrine maiden, and they rushed back to find 2 Naruto clones guarding the smoking village's entrance. After an explanation, Genjiro looked grim, though his good eye was filled with sorrow. Momiji, on the other hand, fell to her knees in tears seeing the carnage. It wasn't until Naruto shook her, said her sister Kureha needed her, that she snapped out of it. Genjiro came to the hidden entrance, and took charge as he was the most senior ninja there. The real Naruto explained what he had seen in person and through his clones. With Genjiro in command, Naruto made more clones with the gruesome task of recovering the bodies. A few of the uninjured villagers and ninja were also helping, but the vast majority of the work was done by Naruto's clones. Momiji stayed at the impromptu hospital that they'd formed at the hidden entrance, and helped take care of the injured along with what few healers they had. When Hinata woke up, she was glad that others were there to help, as her chakra exhaustion would have her weak for days. A few days later, Naruto stood over to the edge of the village as he watched his clones assist with digging graves for the fallen. Help from the Mugen Tenshin village had arrived as well. That was when he heard the flapping of wings. He looked up and saw the Falcon Mononoke on a branch just above him. You did all you could, Sage, and for that I am eternally grateful. The others will return to the village, and it will be rebuilt. I wish I could have done more, said Naruto sadly. I'm still burying many good people. You and your companion did more than humanly possible, Sage. To ask more of you would be impossible. Believe me when I tell you that your actions are beyond reproach. There would be many more orphans than there are if you had not done what you did, said the falcon in a sagely tone. I take it you are the reason Ryu survived? Asked Naruto rhetorically. The falcon cocked its head and nodded. I, the heir to the dragon lineage, is under my stewardship. I could not let him die, but saving more lives was beyond my power. That is why I asked for your help. Who is the enemy? Was the next thing Naruto asked. The creature you saw was a greater fiend known as Doku and is a member of the Vigor Empire, said the falcon. Suddenly the falcon took off and Naruto saw Momiji coming over towards him. Talking to yourself, Naruto? She asked. Naruto just shook his head, seeing the damned bird was long gone. I was just thinking out loud. Is everything okay, Momiji? Momiji nodded. Kureha said she was sure she was dead and didn't know how you saved her. I was wondering if you could explain it to me. Oh, that? I created a shadow clone that hinged into her and pulled a body switch with her, explained Naruto. The fatal wound was taken by the shadow clone, and he fell down dead in her place. See? Momiji smiled at Naruto with a blank look in her eyes and the letters WTF above her head. Could you explain that to me in terms I know? What are a henge and a body switch? Naruto wanted to smack himself. Let me demonstrate. It will be easier to explain. He created a shadow clone. This is a henge, he said as his clone transformed into an exact duplicate of Kureha. It looks so real, said an amazed Momiji. What do you mean it? Asked Kureha. I can pass off for the real Kureha anytime, the clone said in the exact voice and mannerisms of Momiji's older sister while poking the younger shrine maiden on the shoulder. This is a body switch, said Naruto as he swapped places with Kureha. So you made a solid clone look just like my sister, and it traded places with her before she could be killed? Asked the stunned shrine maiden. Precisely, said Naruto and Kureha at the same time. Naruto's clone dispersed after that. Can you teach me how to do that? Asked Momiji with stars in her eyes. Naruto had seen that look before. The look of a fangirl. It was terrifying on Momiji's normally serious face. It's a chakra technique. I don't know if you can learn it or not, he said in a panicked, high-pitched voice. Rats? Said Momiji as her face went back to normal. I heard about chakra from Kureha. Do you think I could learn to use it? Relieved Momiji's face was no longer fangirlish. Naruto said. We'll look into it after the village is back on its feet. Momiji was in deep thought. Imagine the possibilities. You could imitate and impersonate anyone you wanted at any time. It would be perfect for infiltration, assassinations or bodyguard duty. Naruto's sweat dropped. That's why it was invented, Momiji. Let's head back and I'll explain it to your sister. That was damn scary, Kurama. No wonder the team ran from fangirls in the academy, thought Naruto to his tenant. As much as I hate to admit it, you're absolutely right. Human vixens can be frightening, but you can't tell anyone I said that. Your secret is safe with me, Kurama. Then Naruto noticed Momiji trying to get his attention. Hello? Naruto, are you in there? Sorry, I was lost in thought again. Lied Naruto smoothly as they walked along. Let's go see Kureha and see how she's feeling. I need to check on Hinata-chan too. With that they headed back to see the others. They got back to the cave and the tents now set up with the help of the Mugen Tenshin clan. Momiji immediately took off to see her sister and explain what had happened. Naruto was on his way to see Hinata but saw Hate kneel down talking to Ain, who was apparently awake now. Hello, Hate-sama. I'm happy you're here. I'm glad you are awake now, Ain-san. How are you feeling? Asked Naruto in a friendly tone. Ain frowned at the newcomer. She'd met Naruto in passing at the Mugen Tenshin village and thought the blonde with the happy-go-lucky attitude and the whisker marks wasn't serious enough to ever amount to much as a ninja. What do you want, Whiskers? Why did you interrupt Hate-sama's conversation with me? Naruto took a step back. I was simply concerned if you were okay. You were injured pretty badly and I don't need your concern, she said with a huff. Naruto was incensed. Why are you so hostile? Hate wanted to interfere before Ain said something hurtful, but she blurted out. You wouldn't understand. You're so damn happy. You've never been alone. The temperature dropped in the tent as the killing intent rolled off Naruto. He glared at Ain with eyes cold as ice and said in a hiss, I was orphaned at birth and lived in the streets for years where I grew up. I've been alone my entire fucking life. Her eyes widened in more than a little fear and some guilt as well. She tried to stammer out a reply, but Hate got in between them before things got worse. Naruto-san, please accept my apologies for my clansman. The pain medication has Ain a little incoherent right now, and I assure you she didn't mean to offend. I know exactly what she meant, Hate-sama. Naruto reeled in his killing intent and took a calming breath. What an ungrateful girl. Naruto turned and left to see Hinata, regretting he made this little detour. After Naruto left, Hate turned back to Ain. She said, Hate-sama, I'm not on any pain medication. Why did you tell a lie? I did it because I hoped he would believe it, although I'm sure he didn't. I needed to apologize for your rudeness to him, said Hate, shaking his head in frustration. Ain looked ashamed. I am sorry, Hate-sama. I thought because he was so happy that some people hide their pain behind a mask of happiness. Ain. I believe Naruto-san is one of those people. How else could he smile amidst all this misery? Asked the young clan head. Ain nodded in silence, seeing Hate's logic. Hate continued, at any rate, once you are healed I expect you to give him a formal apology. He was the one who saved your life after all. Ain's eyes widened again. Ryu-sama didn't save me? Hate shook his head. Ryu did give you some first aid, but his duty was to come back here and save his village. It was hours later that Naruto found you and brought you back here with the others. Naruto is responsible for rescuing almost everyone recovering here, including Ryu, from what I've been told. But how? Asked the flustered Kunoichi. Hate sat back down at her side. I will tell you what Genjiro-san told me. Naruto-san came running back from his patrol with his friend Hinata-san after they saw an attack was taking place. The enemy's leader was simply too powerful for Naruto to fight head-on and was the one who defeated Ryu later. Naruto wanted to battle the enemy, but instead he swallowed his pride and started rescuing survivors and bringing them back to Hinata-san, as she apparently is a skilled healer. He stayed up all through the night, killing the rear guard of the samurai army and rescuing people. You were one of the many he found. Most of the Hayabusa villagers consider Naruto and Hinata as heroes for their actions. I've really messed up. I need to apologize immediately, said Ain to herself, as much to Hate. She started to get up, but Hate gently pressed her back down. What you need to do is rest. Right now Naruto-san is obviously very angry. You can apologize to him formally and thank him for saving you once you are healed up and he is in a calm mood again. Very well, Hate-sama, she replied in a regretful tone. I still need to report back to Mirai-sama. Hate stated in an iron tone. I am terminating your contract with Mirai, Ain. You were in his employ as a messenger, and he never bothered to even report to us you were missing. He left you for dead. I had doubts about him to begin with, but now I am absolutely certain he cannot be trusted. I will not do any further business with him, Ain. Your life is too precious. My decision is final. Ain took comfort that Hate wanted to protect her from harm. She really wanted to apologize to Naruto though. She heard Hate say, rest now, Ain-chan. Soon the young Kunoichi fell into a dreamless sleep. In Hinata's tent, Naruto was sitting beside Hinata, who was resting but not happy about it. This chakra exhaustion is miserable, Naruto-kun. I want to be up helping and healing others, not sitting here like a bump on a log. While Hinata ranted, Naruto sat with a smile on his face listening to her. The first time he realized she had an angry side was when they first moved into the house they shared. She had been upset with him for being such a slob and made him clean the place up. Her room was always spotless. She was later embarrassed that she'd lost her temper and acted so unladylike, but Naruto told her he was glad that she was honest with him. After that she started being much more open around him with her opinions, and the trust they had between them grew. Of course now they didn't even have a house. Bummer. Are you listening to me, Uzumaki Naruto? Asked Hinata hotly. Oh shit, thought Naruto. Oh shit is right. Yep, you're royally screwed now, kid. She used your full name, chimed in Kurama. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan. I got distracted thinking about all the damage to the village. I know you want to help everyone and I do too, but there's only so much we can do, and I'm sorry you have chakra exhaustion. I've never experienced it, and it must be miserable, said Naruto as soothingly as he could. Then he saw Hinata smirking at him. Nice save, Naruto-kun. I thought you were completely spaced out and ignoring me. Will you stay with me a while and visit with me? It's so lonely just lying around here by myself, she said with puppy dog eyes. Must resist overwhelming cuteness, thought Naruto as Hinata added a small pout that completely leveled his resistance. Sure, Hinata-chan. I'd be happy to stay and keep you company, said the now totally compliant Naruto as they held hands. Damn. These human vixens really are scary. Poor kid, he doesn't stand a chance in hell, thought Kurama to himself. It wasn't long before Naruto and Hinata nodded off for a while. The stress of the last few days finally caught up with them. Late that night, something rancid was in the air. The movements of the Vigorian Empire did not go unnoticed even by those who would be their allies. Long ago, the supreme creator fiend known as Goghun founded the Holy Vigor Empire. It was said that he ruled for a time and then wandered the world afterwards looking for something. He eventually died peacefully in South America. A follower of Goghun named Asag was a worshipper of Goghun and believed his master would revive one day. As a seer among the fiends, Asag prophesied that Doku's failure to kill the heir to the dragon lineage would result in the end of the Vigor Empire. Not wanting to see this happen, he sent one of his own servants to Japan to crush what was left of the Hayabusa village, a greater fiend of his own creation known as Galu. Galu set out in human form weeks ago by ship, and as his master Asag predicted, the dragon ninja's village was broken but not destroyed. He would be sure to rectify that. Galu was once a soldier of fortune who fell under Asag's influence long ago. A heavy substance abuser who was borderline psychotic, he lived to kill, but he was growing old. Being denied the glorious death in battle he wanted, he stumbled across Goghun's tomb, and the corruption in his foul soul drew Asag out of his hiding place. It wasn't difficult for the greater fiend Asag to convince the mercenary to join him, and soon the killer was reborn as a greater fiend himself named Galu. Galu forgot his human name and ran wild through the forest like the beast he was for a time until Asag brought him to heel and reminded him that he lived to serve Asag and, through Asag, Goghun. Galu was not on Doku's level, but he was more than enough to finish off the still badly injured Hayabusa Ryu. Naruto, wake up. Something big is coming. We need to take it out, urged Kurama. 5 more minutes, drawled out Naruto groggily. Wake up now, screamed Kurama in his head. The young toad sage was awake in an instant. He sent clones to get the other villagers out of danger, and set out towards the bridge leading into the village Naruto took out Nagato, and now he was determined to take this thing out too. He grabbed his combat gear and his chakra blade and set out with his sage coat billowing behind him. Galu was at the scorched bridge that led into the Hayabusa village where Masakato had an epic duel with Hayabusa Ryu nights before and died by the dragon ninja's hand. The fiend laughed seeing the signs of battle around. It reminded him of his vague memories when he was a mere mortal human fighting in human wars. When he got to the edge of the bridge he bellowed out in agony as his body twisted, morphed, and changed shape into its true, monstrous form. He now looked like a black minotaur of Minoan myth. The heat coming off his muscular body steamed as he belched flames and grew to his full 12-foot height. The pain of his transformation made Galu feel alive. Hooves dug into the dirt and muscles contorted. He felt the adrenaline rush as he prepared to butcher everyone to the last child. He was drooling as he bellowed in anticipation and joy of letting loose his full might again. This would be a slaughter. He pulled out a black whip that flamed like his body did. Sometimes he enjoyed killing his victims slowly, and a lashing with a flame whip could do just that. That was when Galu heard a young but commanding voice from the other end of the bridge. Go back from where you came or you will die. Naruto stood with his sage mode activated, and eyed at this bull-slash-man hybrid with disgust. He could see the bloodlust and depravity in its eyes. It wasn't like his friend Gaara once was. Naruto could respect an enemy if they had a purpose even if he was totally against it. But this bellowing thing was just mindless. Putting this creature down would be an act of mercy compared to letting the bull-like thing live. The fiend was bellowing like an animal and thrashing its whip around in madness. Drawing his chakra blade, Naruto said, "Come." Galu didn't hold back at the little human's invitation to crush him. Letting loose a roar, Galu charged, aiming to gore his opponent with the horns on his head. Naruto anticipated this move and leapt over the fiend, striking its backside with a wind-enhanced slash. The glancing damage was superficial, but now Galu's attention was focused solely on him, which would buy the villagers more time. Galu lashed out with his whip to strike Naruto in the eyes, but the young sage rolled back before it could connect. Charging again, Gala tried to crush his smaller opponent but hit a piece of timber Naruto body switched with. Naruto sent in clones and played cat and mouse with the more and more enraged beast. More than once observers thought Naruto had been run though by a horn only to find it was a clone that burst into smoke. Naruto slashed the fiend several times with his wind blade but the Minotaur didn't even slow down. The blood from its own wounds seemed to drive it further into a frenzy. Charging madly, the fiend finally connected its horn with Naruto's shoulder on his sword arm, causing Naruto to lose his blade. The bestial creature seemed to roar out in triumph, but then saw a wind-powered Rasengan in Naruto's other hand. Gala seemed confused as Naruto braced himself with his still impaled bad arm and drove the wind-powered Rasengan right into the face of the Minotaur, sending blood, teeth and gore in every direction as the lower jaw of the fiend was ground into oblivion. Gala shrieked out in agony, smashing Naruto away from it, and breaking the end of its horn off in the process. Naruto flew back from the brutal impact stunned and feeling some ribs break. He crashed into the side of the bridge and groaned in pain. Kurama was pumping chakra into him to heal him, but it could only work so fast. They didn't have time, and it took a few seconds for Naruto to regain his bearings and stand back up. The greater fiend was in agony. This human had badly hurt him. This kind of pain made the creature reach up and feel its features, and somehow it realized the lower half of its face was gone. Its tongue still lolled about, though it was half detached. Several of its upper teeth were shattered into jagged stumps. Blood flowed like a river. Gala had to kill this human, or he would die. Naruto was eyeing his chakra blade that was lying back where the Minotaur was. He pulled the tip of the horn out of his shoulder with a meaty squelch and made 2 clones that fanned out across the bridge. Gala stared at the 3 Narutos with the hatred of one possessed and charged to finish off his wounded foe once and for all. One Naruto jumped high, one slid low, and the other drove a kunai into the Mad Bull's left eye before bursting into smoke from the impact. The Naruto that slid past the fiend scooped up the sword and said, "Here, boss," before tossing the chakra blade to the real Naruto, who was standing several feet up out of Gala's reach on one of the bridge's remaining pillars. Gala looked out of its intact right eye and charged mindlessly at the clone that was just standing there. Naruto lunged down from above, pumping wind chakra into his blade while the beast was distracted by the clone. Gala had no time to react when Naruto's feet connected to its shoulders with chakra and Naruto's blade thrust deep into the back of its head. Naruto pulled the chakra blade out in a spectacular spray of blood as he beheaded the monster. Gala was dead before its lifeless body hit the ground, and it dissolved into mystic ashes, leaving a headless human skeleton there in front of Naruto on the bridge. The human skeleton soon crumbled into dust as well. The battle was over. Naruto fell to one knee panting and heard the sounds of footsteps rushing up behind him. He looked back and saw Genjiro and the remaining able-bodied ninjas running to his side. Realizing he was among friends, Naruto smiled at the approving look on Genjiro's face before he blissfully slipped into unconsciousness. The next day around noon, Naruto woke up to the smell of food cooking and saw Hinata working away preparing something. "Hinata-chan?" Hinata looked over and smiled approvingly at Naruto. "Good morning, Naruto-kun. How are you feeling?" "I feel like I got run over by an angry giant man/bull thing," said Naruto as he felt the pain throughout his body. His shoulder and ribs were still really sore. His stomach growled then. "I take it you're hungry?" asked Hinata. "There isn't a lot of variety to go around, but I've got some rice balls, miso soup and some greens to share, and you will eat your greens. Your body is healing and you need the nutrients." Naruto struggled into a sitting position and said in a resigned tone. "All right, I'll eat my vegetables even if I don't like them. I'm starving." Hinata smiled and brought the food over. "There's plenty here for you, Naruto, so eat up. You did very well in defeating that Minotaur. You've been out for about 12 hours and a lot of people have visited waiting to see if you were awake yet. I've spent the whole morning shooing them away." As Naruto scarfed down his food, he asked Hinata, "Is that what that thing was called? A Minotaur?" "Apparently so. It's a mythical creature from a country called Greece, is what the villagers told me," answered Hinata. "I watched with my Byakugan from across the village. You were very brave and I'm so very proud of you." Naruto got a warm feeling inside knowing Hinata was proud of him. "Was anyone else hurt, Hinata-chan?" She shook her head. "No. Everyone else is fine." Genjiro and every able-bodied ninja were on standby watching the fight, but since you and the Minotaur were locked in high-speed combat, there was no way anyone could intervene. Many ninjas were very impressed at your skill. Even Genjiro said he could not have taken on that beast. As they conversed over their meal, they were interrupted by Sanji, who poked his head into the tent. "Naruto Nizin. You're awake. You were so awesome last night. I was really scared, but you took down that monster with no problems. I have to tell everybody you're up." Before Hinata could stop him, Sanji took off like a rocket. "Well, so much for peace and quiet," said Hinata as she retrieved the dishes. "I'll be back later to check on you, so try to rest while your visitors are here. I'm going to go and check on those still injured. Be nice to your guests." Naruto looked a little desperate that Hinata was leaving. "Don't leave me all alone, Hinata-chan." Hinata giggled. "You're a hero, so you'll just have to take it like a man. Seriously though, don't move around too much. You need to heal." Hinata stepped out of the tent and addressed the crowd, telling them to visit quietly in small groups. With that, she departed to help those that still needed medical care. Her mystic palm jutsu was a godsend to the villagers. Naruto groaned and greeted his many visitors one at a time. Kurama was snickering at Naruto's unwanted fame and making obnoxious comments the whole afternoon. Later, Kureha, who was still a bit injured, and Momiji showed up. Momiji came in very excited whereas Kureha was moving at a more sedate pace. "You were amazing, Naruto-kun," congratulated Momiji. "I was there watching with Genjiro and the others. Your skill is far beyond what we all knew. I believe even Ryusama would have been really impressed. There is no doubt in my mind you will be a master-level ninja one day." While Momiji gushed about Naruto's performance, Kureha sat quietly amused at Momiji's enthusiasm. Momiji had always had great admiration for Ryu, but it seemed she was in Naruto's fan group now. "Ryu sends his greetings. He would like to have come here, but I currently have him restrained so he will heal properly," stated the elder sister serenely. Naruto's sweat dropped at the image of poor Ryu trying to escape his bonds and being tied down to his bed by Kureha. "Who'd have guessed the oh-so-gentle shrine maiden was a closet dominatrix?" asked Kurama. "Who knows what she and her younger sister are wearing under those shrine maiden outfits? I'm betting on tight black and red leather." "Shut up, Arrow Fox," thought Naruto desperately as an enormous blush rushed to his face at the assault of mental images of the two sisters in all kinds of revealing leather outfits. "Are you all right, Naruto-kun? Your face is all red. Are you too hot?" asked Momiji concerned. "Sorry, it is a bit hot in here," stammered out Naruto. "I think I need some water," he said as he buried his face in a glass of water. Kureha smiled. "Well, Momiji and I must take our leave. We're both so glad to see you are recovering quickly like Genjiro said you would. If you need anything just let us know," said Momiji. Naruto nodded, banishing the erotic images from his mind. "Thank you for coming by, girls. I'll be better before you know it." Momiji gave him a huge smile on the way out. Kureha and Momiji returned to check on Ryu when the older sister mentioned, "So it's Naruto-kun, Momiji?" Momiji blushed. "Did I say that out loud? It must have just slipped out." Kureha laughed at her younger sister's embarrassment. Some of the village children were visiting Naruto when Hinata arrived with dinner. Naruto was overjoyed to see her and relieved as she shooed the kids out so she and Naruto could eat in peace. "I've had an exhausting day, Hinata-chan. Almost everyone came to see me. They know more about the battle that I had on the bridge than I do, and I was the one doing the fighting," complained Naruto. Hinata giggled at his expense. "You just had to go and save the village, Naruto-kun. Next time you will know better. No good deed goes unpunished." Then she turned serious. Apparently the Vigor Empire was behind the attack. "Ryusama told me he was going after them to avenge those who died as soon as he is well enough." "By himself?" asked Naruto incredulously. Hinata nodded gravely. "He says it's his responsibility, and his alone. Kureha tried to talk him out of it, but he said that you and Genjiro could keep the village safe in his absence. He has a lot of faith in you, Naruto-kun. I wonder if I could talk him out of it," mused Naruto. "If Kureha can't convince him, then nobody can. They are best friends and maybe more." "Ryusama is going to do what he's going to do," stated Hinata. They had just finished their dinner, and Hinata took the dishes back to clean them up. Currently the village kind of had a communal kitchen since most of the houses burned down. That's when an unexpected visitor arrived. It was the violet-haired, red-eyed Kunoichi Ain. Ain had quietly waited until she saw Hinata leave so she could apologize to Naruto in private. She seemed shy rather than aloof when she parted the entrance to the tent. "Naruto-san, it's me, Ain of the Mugen Tenshin clan. I was wondering if I could have a little of your time." Naruto was surprised she was there but motioned the young woman to come in. "Is there something I can do for you, Ain-san?" "I'm rather tired." Ain kneeled and said without preamble, "I deeply apologize for my previous behavior. I completely misjudged you and I had no idea that it was you who saved me." Naruto nodded slowly and Ain continued sounding very unsure of herself. "I am so sorry and I beg for your forgiveness." Ain waited for him to scornfully tell her to get out and leave his sight, but Naruto simply said, "You are forgiven, Ain-san. Aren't you still injured? Kneeling like that must be painful, so please sit." Ain looked up surprised. "Are you sure?" she asked flabbergasted. Naruto nodded. "Yes, you should sit. I can tell you are hurting." Sitting up, Ain said, "I meant are you sure about forgiving me? I've found that holding grudges gets you nowhere, Ain-san," explained Naruto. "I don't know your circumstances, but I'm guessing from what you said that you had a rough childhood, so you probably act that way to protect yourself. Don't worry about it. I was tired at the time and got angry. I should probably apologize myself." No, Naruto-san. I was totally out of line. "Do not apologize," she said passionately. Naruto was astounded that she felt so strongly about the subject but decided to let it slide. "Well, I hope we can get along in the future. I'm new to this area so I value my friends. You would consider being friends with me?" she asked. "Why not? Hayate-sama obviously holds you in high regard. You seem very skilled. Besides, you seem nice once you aren't angry." Ain blushed slightly embarrassed. "I saw your battle with that minotaur. I was prepared to fight it though I was injured. You were magnificent. I have seen few aside of Hayate-sama and Ryusama who could rival your performance." Magnificent? He thought. No one put it quite that way before. Well, thank you, but I had to give my all to protect everyone else. Ain heard noise outside the tent. Well, I must be going. Thank you for your time. I will visit you again, Naruto-san. Good night, Ain-san. With that she departed quickly. Hinata returned a minute or two later. Was she another fan of yours, Naruto-kun? I noticed she was a bit skittish. She came to apologize for being rude to me. I guess she was really embarrassed, explained Naruto. Hinata smiled. Well, her secret's safe with me. She's a member of the Mugen Tenshin clan, isn't she? Naruto nodded. Yes, her name is Ain-san. She seemed surprised I was friendly with her. I don't know her very well, but I think she's a little mean because she had it tough growing up. That's too bad. Maybe we can become friends with her in the future, said Hinata. That's what I thought, Hinata-chan. Naruto yawned. Man, it's been a long day. Lay down and get some sleep, Naruto-kun. I'll join you shortly, said Hinata. I think I will, Hinata-chan. Good night, he said as he closed his eyes. Sweet dreams, replied the heiress. 2 weeks later, Hayabusa Ryu had on his black falcon suit and was ready to go. I wish I could talk you out of this, Ryu, said Naruto. It's going to be tough all by yourself. It's something I have to do, or else the whole world could be in danger. The dark dragon blade is too dangerous in the wrong hands, said Ryu. I know I'm placing a huge burden on your hands, but please help Genjiro and Kureha keep the village safe. As more villagers return, rebuilding can start in earnest. You just want to use my shadow clones as a source of cheap labor to rebuild the village, grumped Naruto. Ryu snickered. Actually, that was Kureha's idea. Kureha turned red with embarrassment. Ryu! You weren't supposed to tell him that. I will return soon. Take care, everyone. With that, the dragon ninja departed for the Vigorian Empire, the path to the Mugen Tenshin village. It had been 2 weeks since Ryu's departure, and members of the Black Spider clan appeared in the region, raiding the Mugen Tenshin village, though they surprisingly hadn't attacked the Hayabusa village as well. Several skirmishes were fought, and since Ain was healed enough to travel and fight, she was ordered to return. Genjiro decided Naruto should escort her back as the 14-year-old Kunoichi wasn't at 100% yet. Ain was initially irritated that Genjiro seemed to be coddling her, but decided it was okay since it was Naruto. He wanted to bring Hinata along, but Hinata was needed in the Hayabusa village to help those still injured. As Genjiro predicted, they were ambushed by black spider ninjas on the way on more than one occasion. For the most part, it was not a problem for Ain and Naruto, as their enemies were lesser ninjas. However, the third time they were attacked, it was a formidable group. 6 middle ninjas backed by the infamous Tengu brothers. One of the middle ninjas snapped at Twig, and Naruto and Ain were on alert. Having lost the element of surprise, the ninjas threw their incendiary shurikens, and Naruto's clones absorbed the damage. Ain managed to slay 2 that she discovered the hiding place of silently, while the other 4 battled Naruto and his clones in the open. The Tengu brothers were both very surprised by Naruto's solid clones and decided to stand back and assess him before they joined the battle. One of the middle ninjas grabbed Ain, hoping to subdue her, but she knocked him away with a spin kick, knocking him back into the others. The apparent leader of the remaining 4 decided to change tactics. He said to Naruto, I don't know who you are, but the symbol on your headband isn't of any of the villages around here. Leave the Mugen Tenshin Kunoichi to us. She's a pretty little thing. We'll show her a good time and you can walk away free. What do you say? Ain was a child of rape. Her entire existence as a cursed child was defined by it. As a result, Ain feared rape worse than death. To her eternal shame, she froze up and uttered no under her breath. Seeing Ain trembling, Naruto said, I was going to let you live, but now you're dead. Naruto's chakra spiked, making the middle ninjas tremble. The Tengu brothers went to intervene but saw the blonde draw his sword and vanish. Naruto reappeared among the 4 via body flicker and went on a rampage. By the time the Tengu brothers got to the battlefield, their 4 subordinates were fighting for their lives against the enraged blonde and were dying off fast. Naruto beheaded the last one of his opponents as the 2 brothers landed. The Tengu brothers saw the solid clones of Naruto surrounding Ain protectively, and the original, whose eyes now resembled a toad's, looking at them coldly. Get her clear, said Naruto to his clones. I'll deal with these 2. Ain seemed to snap out of her daze as she was being carried off by the clones. Be careful, Naruto, those are the Tengu brothers. Put me down, you stupid clones. Sorry, Ain-san, but it's boss's orders, said one of the clones as they cleared the battlefield. The older Tengu brother attacked with his war mace, but Naruto dodged. Naruto leapt back and countered with a wind style, great breakthrough that sent the Wing brothers tumbling. Then Naruto went after the older brother with his chakra blade. The younger brother got wide-eyed as a series of nearly invisible wind blades came from Naruto's sword and sliced up his older brother very severely. Damn, this ninja can control wind. Our flying abilities are a disadvantage against this one. The younger Tengu brother rushed in to save his sibling and parry Naruto's chakra blade with his war mace, but found Naruto's wind-enhanced blade was cutting through his weapon. He managed to knock Naruto back with an unexpected kick, but the war mace was severed in the process. Brother! We retreat now, he yelled as he grabbed his badly injured sibling and took to the skies. By the time Naruto was up, they were gone. TCH. They escaped. was all Naruto said before he turned to Ain. Are you alright, Ain-san? I could have helped. She huffed. I was using wide area wind ninjutsu, Ain-san. I didn't want you to be caught in the blast, he said as he motioned to several rows of trees that were knocked down or had all their leaves or branches blown completely off. Looking at all the collateral damage, she whistled. Well, I guess I can let it slide this time. That is pretty damned impressive, I have to agree, said a senior Mugen Tenshin ninja coming out of the trees to them as he surveyed the damage. I was on recon looking for the Tengu brothers and I got here in time to see the battle. He nudged the top half of the broken war mace and said, You have quite a fine blade there, Naruto-san. None of us had any idea you were so powerful. I was going to request Hayate-sama's assistance, but I guess it's not necessary now. If you two are up to it, we'll head back to the village since this area is clear now. Actually, you probably need to sit down after defeating the Tengu brothers. I'm fine. Are you alright to travel, Ain-san? Asked Naruto. I'm okay, thanks, Naruto, she replied. Have we had a lot of losses, Rokuro-san? She asked the senior ninja. No, we just have a few injured, Ain-san, replied Rokuro. I have to wonder if they weren't just testing our defenses. The Tengu brothers were the biggest threat in the area and Naruto-san has neutralized them. It will probably take weeks for them to heal up after that thrashing. The Mugen Tenshin village. Hate was alerted that Rokuro returned from his recon mission and came down to meet him at the gates. He was pleased to see Ain had returned and surprised to see Naruto there. He immediately greeted Ain. Ain, are you well now? She smiled. Yes, though I'm not fully recovered, Hayate-sama. Naruto here escorted me back. Hate nodded and thanks to Naruto, who returned the gesture. He would give him a formal thank you later. Turning to Rokuro, he asked in a much graver tone, Any news on the Tengu brothers? Rokuro scratched his chin and answered, Well, Naruto-san here took care of the Tengu brothers for us. One was cut up to the point he was helpless, and the other had his war mace destroyed and had to retreat carrying his brother. Since they were the head in the chain of command, I think the Black Spider clan's operations against us will probably cease in the next couple of days. Everyone in hearing range stopped talking and stared at the blonde who was standing there nervously with a sweat drop forming on his head. Coughing, Rokuro continued. Anyway, Naruto-san was grumbling about them escaping alive when I got there. Another ninja that was higher ranked interrupted saying, Forgive me, Rokuro-san, but I find that a bit hard to swallow. He said looking at the teenaged Naruto. Is there any proof of this? Rokuro looked a bit offended that his word was being questioned even if it did seem far-fetched. Well, if that several hundred feet of leveled forest isn't enough proof, I asked Naruto-san to bring the two halves of the war mace the younger Tengu brother left behind as proof. He looked at Naruto and noticed the blonde wasn't carrying anything large. You did bring them, didn't you, Naruto-san? Naruto pulled out a scroll. Yep. I have them right here, Rokuro-san. That's a scroll, Naruto-san, said Rokuro with a deadpan look on his face. Naruto made a tisk sound and set the scroll on the ground. He simply said unseal. And the two halves of the broken war mace appeared. There you go, Rokuro-san. Most of the ninja in the vicinity had their eyes popping out of their sockets. What kind of sorcery is this? Asked Rokuro. It's basic fuinjutsu, a ninja skill where I came from. I sealed the halves in a scroll so I could carry them easily and unsealed them when we got here, explained Naruto. You didn't seriously think I was going to carry those big bulky things on my back, did you? That's an amazing technique, Naruto-san, said Hate. We weren't aware our Hayabusa allies had such an ability. They don't. Only Hinata-chan and I have access to this skill, said Naruto. Do you all want to study the halves of that war mace? I have no use for it. You don't want it as a trophy? Asked Ain surprised. Naruto shook his head. I'm living in a tent right now, Ain-san. It isn't like I have a place to put it, he answered in a flat tone. Ain's sweat dropped. Good point. Hate motioned to two of his ninjas. Take the war mace down and examine it. We will study it, and if Naruto-san wants it later as a trophy, we will return it to him. Rokuro, I want a written report within the hour for the intelligence team. If the enemy is disorganized, we need to hit them now. Ain and Naruto-san, come with me. You've had a long trip. Naruto followed Hate and Ain to a debriefing area. As the information on this mission was still a bit sensitive, Hate decided to listen in personally, and also received Ain's already written reports of what had happened with the fiend Galu in the Hayabusa village. To say the least, he was impressed. Well, if we're done here, I'd best head back to the Hayabusa village, Hayate-sama. Ain went bug-eyed. We just trudged through enemy territory for nearly 14 hours fighting multiple foes, and now you plan to go back? Don't you need to eat and rest, Naruto? I have to agree, Naruto-san. I'll send out a messenger bird to Genjiro that you've completed your mission and need to rest. If the Black Spider clan withdraws in the next couple of days, then your trip home will be safer, yes? Naruto looked like he wanted to argue until Hate said, I won't take no for an answer, Naruto-san. Naruto finally admitted defeat and said, Hi, Hayate-sama. Ain was soon picked up by her foster father Genra, who thanked Naruto for bringing his daughter back safely. Naruto was taken to the mess hall and ate his own weight in food, much to the shock of those around him. He wanted to take a mission or something to get away from the boredom of sitting around, but he knew he couldn't as he would need Genjiro's permission. After hearing numerous ridiculous rumors about him facing off with the evil Tengu brothers with nothing but a twig and a stick of gum, he decided to go to the guest quarters to get away from it all. He had a nice long soak in the bath and decided to meditate and talk to Kurama before he turned in for the evening. Kurama's chambers. I keep forgetting they don't know anything about Fuinjutsu Kurama. The guy called it sorcery of all things. A couple of them were even reaching for weapons, said Naruto in a distressed tone. Kurama flicked one of his tails in an irritated manner. What do you expect? Humans fear and hate what they don't comprehend. Then, when they get over their fear to some extent, they try to control those things to use as weapons against each other. That's how it has always been. I know what you are saying, Kurama, but I wish people would just try to understand each other. It's a nice but impossible dream, Naruto. Your master Jiraiya and the old man had that dream too, said Kurama in a sad tone. I guess so, but you and I are gradually learning to get along with each other, said the young toad sage. I think together with Hinata-chan we'll eventually figure out what happened to our world. Kurama's ears perked up. Someone's coming. We'll talk later, kid. Naruto cracked his eyes open and heard some scuffling outside his door. He put on a yukata and reached for his sword. Finally the person knocked. Yes? I am still awake, answered Naruto. Naruto-san, I have a message for you from the aviary, said a shy female voice. Naruto slid open the door and saw a young kunoichi. She looked him over, drinking in his features before she asked, Is it true you defeated the Tengu brothers single-handedly? Naruto felt a headache coming on but nodded. More or less, I was able to drive them off. Suddenly she had great admiration in her eyes. The way I heard it, they barely escaped you. I heard one was cut up so bad that the other had to carry him off and lost his weapon in the process. Her voice was growing more excited as she went on. Yeah? Something like that. You said you had a message from the aviary for me? Asked Naruto. Oh yes, here you go, she said as she handed over the message. You look so young to be that strong, Naruto-san. How old are you? I'm 15 going on 16. Answered Naruto, wondering how his age became a topic. That's my age. Your hair, is it naturally blonde? It doesn't look bleached to me, she asked. It's natural. So was one of your parents a foreigner? You have an unusual but very cool accent. She had stars in her eyes now. Do you have any hobbies? I heard you were staying with the Hayabusa clan as a guest. Have you considered moving here to our village? The kunoichi asked with her excitement reaching a crescendo. Well, my name's Megumi. Do you have a girlfriend? The girl practically squealed. For the love of Kami, Naruto, close the door before she attacks, cried out Kurama. Naruto's eyes got big at Kurama's statement, and he said as calmly as he could. Well, thank you for the message. I'm very tired and have to go to sleep, so good night. He quickly slid the door shut and heard Megumi sigh longingly and giggle before she departed. What the hell is with these human vixens? Was that one in heat? Asked the confused fox. I'll never understand women, lamented Naruto in his mind. I did a lot better when they were beating me up for doing something stupid back in the old days. You really do have issues, Naruto. That last statement just proves it, snickered Kurama. Hey, at least I understood what was going on then. Not hearing a reply from the fox, Naruto sighed. Might as well read this message, he said to no one in particular. It was written in Genjiro's formal-looking script. Naruto, I received a message from Hayate-sama that you brought Ain-san back safely. Well done. An hour later I received another message that was from Hayate-sama's father, Shiden-sama. He claimed you nearly killed the two Tengu brothers and came out of it without a scratch. He also said you leveled a large patch of forest in the process. Pardon my asking, but how the hell do you get into these situations? At any rate, Shiden-sama requested you stay for the next few days, and you just don't say no to a request from someone like Shiden-sama. As the Black Spider clan is already retreating from the region and has left us alone, it's safe for you to stay there. If I need you, I will send a message for your assistance immediately. Genjiro. P.S. Treat Shiden-sama with all the respect you can muster. I don't know why he is interested in you, but he is very formal and does not take etiquette lightly. He won't tolerate informality like Joe-sama, so be on your absolute best behavior, and don't say anything out of turn. When you get back, I'm going to have Hinata beat some etiquette lessons into you because I know you'll actually listen to her. Naruto's sweat dropped as he pictured Genjiro in his head yelling and stomping his foot with steam coming out of his ears as he wrote. Gods, the clan head's father? What's next? The next morning, Naruto was up and about cleaning and maintaining his chakra blade when Hayate came by to visit him at his quarters. Hayate-sama, I wasn't expecting company. Is there any help you need? I'm at your service since we are allies. Hayate smiled slightly. Always eager to help. I came to thank you for bringing Ain back safely. She was very impressed with the way you handled the Tengu brothers. Thank you for protecting her. I would have done the same for any of my friends, Hayate-sama. Answered Naruto sincerely. Hayate nodded. My friend Ryu said as much, but seeing it for myself is a different matter. Then Hayate sighed. Unfortunately, you have caught my father's attention, so that means we need to get you a formal kimono. I know you come from a distant region and are very informal, but I must stress that formality is a must where my father is concerned. He is a good and wise man but very rigid. Okay, why a formal kimono? Asked Naruto with his head cocked to the side in confusion. For dinner, of course. Said Hate as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. I'm here to deliver a formal invitation to you for dinner, and knowing you probably only have the clothes on your back, I'm going to take you to the clothiers and get you fitted. Naruto stared flatly at Hate and said, I don't have money for a formal kimono. I've never even owned a formal kimono. I have enough money to resupply, and buying clothes isn't on my must-have list of things. Hate smirked at Naruto's slight display of temper. I'm paying for it, Naruto-san. Consider it a reward for bringing Aang back safely. Naruto looked a bit confused. What about the Black Spider Ninja? Well, since their chain of command collapsed, they are withdrawing rapidly from the area. It seems that you defeating the Tengu brothers kind of caused their plans to implode, said the clan head. I guess there's no avoiding this formal dinner, is there, Hayate-sama? Asked the blonde. I don't even know how to act. Hate scratched his chin. After we get you a kimono, I'll take you to a private lunch and show you what I can. I'm sorry to burden you with this, honestly. Father is very excited to meet you given your recent exploits. Naruto heard Hinata's voice in his head. You just had to go and save the village, Naruto-kun. Next time you will know better. No good deed goes unpunished. Cringing at her accurate prediction, Naruto bowed his head. I'll get dressed and be ready to go in 5 minutes. I'm in your care, Hayate-sama. Hate nodded and stepped out. Naruto joined him a few minutes later. You could always run screaming like a bitch, said our resident tailed beast. You aren't helping Kurama. What do you know about manners? Surely you've picked up something in your centuries of existence. Manners are for lesser beings than I, Naruto. Kurama claimed haughtily. Oh, I don't know. I guess you shouldn't curse the old man out. Naruto's sweat dropped. Thanks for your infinite wisdom, Kurama. With that, Naruto shrugged and followed Hate closely to the clothiers. His blonde hair really stuck out among the locals, and courtesy of Megumi and her gossip network, everyone knew it was natural. Rumors were flying fast since Naruto was walking along with the Mugen Tenshin clan head. Naruto was used to being stared at for negative reasons but positive ones. He didn't have a clue what to do. Welcome to our humble shop again, Hayate-sama, said an elderly woman as they entered the clothier's store. She was plump and very outgoing. Actually, she kind of reminded Naruto of Choji's family. You must be Naruto-san. Many of the kunoichis have been talking about you, she said in a flirtatious way. Wild, naturally blonde hair and those cute whisker-like marks. You're quite handsome in an exotic sort of way. Great, I have somebody's grandma hitting on me. What next? Thought Naruto miserably. Seeing Naruto was at a loss for words, Hate spoke up. Tomo-san, we are looking for a formal kimono suitable for Naruto-san here. It should be fine enough to be seen in the main household, so don't cut corners. The now named Tomo suddenly had yen signs in her eyes. Of course, Hayate-sama. When do you need it by? Tonight at 7. I will pay for the rush fee. Excellent, said Tomo. Girls, we have a rush job on Naruto-san here. Get me measurements. 3 equally chubby girls, obviously relatives of Tomo's, rushed out and in a whirlwind of activity got all of Naruto's measurements, talking with him all the while. Naruto had swirls in his eyes as he recovered from being whipped around like a ragdoll in a hurricane. Tomo came over and asked, what colors do you prefer, Naruto-san? Naruto-san hasn't ever had a formal kimono, Tomo-san, explained Hate. I trust your expertise to pick out what looks best. Tomo giggled, always with the flattery, Hayate-sama. If I were only younger. She turned to Naruto with an appraising eye. Blue would bring out those lovely eyes of yours, Naruto-san. Stand still and I'll get some fabrics to check against you. The elderly woman moved with speed that belied her years and brought out several rolls of fabric, and held them up to him one by one. Naruto felt like he was being examined under a microscope. After about 10 rolls she said, I remember one with cloud motifs on blue that would be perfect. I wonder if there is enough of it left. She dashed off and after a few minutes returned with a blue roll of fabric with white cloud motifs that she described. Here we go, she said as she held it up to Naruto. Very good, just as I suspected. She pulled the remaining fabric off the roll and had Naruto wrap it around him. Smiling and nodding, she walked around Naruto, nodding at her choice. This will do nicely if I say so myself, she said as she snatched the fabric away from him. She soon barraged him with questions about his preferences and giggled at his seemingly clueless answers. You just leave it to Tomo, Naruto-san. I'll have you looking like a perfect gentleman by this evening, she said reassuringly. After getting information about the Uzumaki swirl on the shoulder of his uniform, she advised them to get a haircut as Naruto's spiky hair was all over the place. She notified Hate to have Naruto back by 5 that evening for a final fitting of the kimono, and shooed the 2 ninjas out so she could get to work. After they left Tomo's clothiers, Naruto looked at Hate with wild eyes and said, I've been through interrogations that were easier than that. Hate nodded. That's how I felt the first time my mother brought me there as a child. Come on, we have to take you to get your hair trimmed and a manicure and pedicure, Naruto asked with crazed eyes. A manicure and a pedicure? Why, you have to look impeccable for dinner. Hate suddenly got a gleam in his eye. Consider this a mission like you have to impersonate a nobleman, Naruto-san. Would that make it easier? Consider all this preparation for your mission. Naruto nodded. Alright, I think that works better for me. Soon they were at a salon to get Naruto fixed up. 2 agonizing hours later Naruto felt ridiculous with his hair, nails and toenails done. The beautician that did his hair fought valiantly with Naruto's untamable locks and ultimately lost. She finally trimmed it in a way that it looked very feral and very masculine. By that point Naruto just wanted out of the damn salon and couldn't have cared less. Please tell me we are done, Hayate-sama, pleaded Naruto. Hayate nodded. Let's go get some lunch and I will see if your table manners need work. An hour later, Hayate was so horrified at the way Naruto inhaled food that he had to give a massive crash course to him on eating properly. Maybe Naruto should have listened to Hinata after all. It was an uphill battle, but after 4 or 5 very small meals that Hayate walked him through every step of the way, Naruto was eating at a human pace, not talking with his mouth full and doing his best to imitate how Hayate ate in a dignified manner. By the time Hayate thought Naruto's eating habits were barely passable, they had to go back to Tomo's clothiers to get a final fitting of his kimono. An hour later, Naruto was dressed formally and trying to act like perfect gentleman as much as he could manage. He actually felt like he was in a straitjacket and wanted to sloppily inhale about 20 bowls of ramen to soothe his frazzled nerves. Kurama's idea of running away screaming was still an option. Alas, it was not to be. Soon he was greeted by a servant at the main family compound's front door. He planned to give his all since he and Hayate had essentially gone through hell together. Acting as refined as he could, Naruto said, "I am Uzumaki Naruto, and I am here on invitation to dinner with Shiden-sama." He was welcomed soon by Hayate-sama, and was introduced to Hayate's mother Ayame-sama, and was brought in to dinner. Naruto was led into the dining area and saw Shiden sitting at the head of the table. He bowed properly and said, "Thank you for inviting me to dinner in your beautiful home, Shiden-sama. You honor me greatly." Shiden was a slim, fit, regal-looking man with long gray hair. He welcomed Naruto and invited him to sit with his family for dinner. Soon, Naruto was nervously sitting beside Hayate and across from Ayame, and the newly arrived Kasumi was Shiden at the head of the table. Naruto was introduced to Kasumi and exchanged greetings with her. Naruto couldn't help but notice how she and Ayame bore such a strong resemblance to one another, as he studied her face. Even their scents were similar. "Is something on my face, Naruto-san?" Kasumi asked with a soft smile. She was used to men staring at her as the clan head's daughter. "Ah, no. Forgive me, Kasumi-sama. Your appearance just reminds me of someone I know. I didn't mean to stare." Naruto stammered out. Ayame smiled. "He seems like a shy one in person. I was under the impression he had a boisterous personality. Maybe he's just shy around women." Shiden noted that Naruto was very nervous and wondered why. The boy seemed to behave well and had alright manners, if Shiden only knew the truth. He said, "Well, Naruto-san, it seems we owe you a debt of gratitude for defeating the Tengu brothers. I have read the reports from my ninja and I am very impressed. I also understand you defeated a greater fiend at the Hayabusa village. Jo-sama praised you while in my company, but I truly had no idea. Where do you hail from?" "I'm from a village called Konoha which was destroyed. My dearest friend Hinata-chan and I are the only survivors. We wandered the lands until we met up with Jo-sama in the Hayabusa sacred wilderness," said Naruto, using the cover story they concocted with Jo and Genjiro. It was easier than saying they were time travelers. "After that we and Jo-sama got to know each other, and he invited us back to the Hayabusa villager where we have helped out, when we can." "I'm sorry for your loss," said Ayame sympathetically. "It must be terrible having lost your home village." Naruto nodded sadly. "The first few months we were absolutely devastated. Hinata-chan still misses her family terribly." "What about your family, Naruto-san?" asked Kasumi sadly. "I was orphaned at birth, so I never had a family," clarified Naruto. "But losing all my friends was unbearable. I guess the pain will pass with time." "That is truly a tragedy," said Shiden. "Are you staying in the region? Someone of your strength would be welcomed here in our village." Naruto looked surprised. "I promised Jo-sama to help protect the Hayabusa village." "Thank you for your offer though." "Well, the offer is open in the future," Shiden said warmly. "I understand your techniques are quite different from what Jo-sama told me." "They don't use ki?" "Well, yes. Our techniques use chakra instead of ki," explained Naruto. "They are called ninjutsu instead of ninpo where I was born." "Is that so? I'd love to see a demonstration," Shiden said, interested. "Well, they are mainly combat-oriented," said Naruto. "Ninjutsu isn't really better or worse than ninpo, but they are different from one another. How about you spar against one of our ninja and demonstrate tomorrow afternoon then?" "Nothing lethal, of course, just a friendly spar," asked Shiden. Ayame's sweat dropped. Men, she thought. Shiden, if Naruto-san took out the 2 Tengu brothers as easily as Rokuro reported, then there are few in our ranks that could match him. That's why I was thinking about Hayate here. There aren't many that can give you a challenge, son. "What do you say?" Shiden asked. Hayate saw this coming a mile away. He said in a resigned tone, "I am willing only if Naruto-san is. It would be bad if one of us was injured." Shiden turned to Naruto. "What do you say, Naruto-san? Would you care to test your skills against Hayate here? I'm always interested in seeing different styles of fighting." Naruto could see the excitement in the older man's eyes. If it pleases you, I will spar with Hayate-sama, but I doubt I'll be a match for him. I mean, I lose against Ryu-sama most of the time, and as I understand it, Hayate-sama is an even match for him. Kasumi looked a bit surprised. Most of the time? You mean you have actually defeated Ryu-sama in a spar? Well, sure. Ryu-sama is a great guy and an amazing ninja, but I'm not a total slouch. Still, I usually lose just due to sheer skill on his part. But anyway, without Joe-sama around to teach him some humility, someone has to keep him from getting too pompous. Naruto blushed and covered his mouth. Did I say that last part out loud? He heard Kurama groan in his head. Kasumi nodded with a smile on her face before she giggled at his terrified look. Please don't tell him, pleaded Naruto as Shurden burst into laughter. Your secret is safe with us, Naruto-san. But you'd better give my son a good fight tomorrow, said Shurden humorously. Of course, sir, said Naruto, scratching his head sheepishly. When will we spar? Let's make it around 2 in the afternoon at the central training grounds. I am and I should both be free then, Shurden said. Then the master got a gleam in his eye. Have you had a tour of the village, Naruto-san? Seeing Naruto shake his head no, Shurden smiled and said, Well, Kasumi-chan isn't busy tomorrow, are you, dear? Why don't you give Naruto-san a tour of the village in the morning and bring him to the spar after a nice lunch? Iam's eyes narrowed. Shiden-kun is always chasing anything even remotely male away from Kasumi. What are you up to, husband of mine? Playing matchmaker of all things? I'll interrogate my dear husband later. Kasumi didn't have plans for tomorrow and did think Naruto was funny, but she too wondered what her father was up to. The last guy that got too close to her was accidentally jumped by a horde of vengeful ninjas. And the one before that and the one before, however, being a dutiful daughter, she answered by saying, I'll be happy to take Naruto-san around the village, father. Shurden smiled approvingly at his daughter and said, Excellent. I'm sure Kasumi-chan will show you a wonderful time in our village, Naruto-san. With that, Naruto and Kasumi agreed to meet up in the morning at Ito's tea house, and Naruto's plans to sleep in were shot to hell, bidding the head family goodnight. Naruto was escorted by Hate back to the guest quarters he was staying at. Hate's head was swirling. His father seemed to be setting up Naruto on a date with Kasumi. The same father that fed an older man that made a pass at Kasumi a year ago to the sharks. Kasumi had never been told the truth of why that guy disappeared. Hate felt as Kasumi's older brother he should put the fear into Naruto about hurting his baby sister's feelings or something, but at the same time Naruto looked like he'd rather skip town than be out and about with Kasumi. Maybe she wasn't Naruto's type? At any rate, Hate felt like he should say something. That's when Naruto dropped the bomb. Hayate-sama, I have to ask, Kasumi-sama and Ayan-san look too much alike for it to be coincidence. Even their scent is very similar. What is their relationship? They both look and smell so much like Ayam-sama, I would guess they were sisters. Naruto had a hard look in his eyes that basically told Hate tell the truth or else. Hate sighed and said, We will discuss this only in the privacy of your quarters. As he led the younger man onwards. As they quietly made their way towards the guest quarters, they ran into someone they'd just been discussing. Hayate-sama, good evening, Naruto, is that you? Asked Ayane as she hopped down beside them. Seeing it was Naruto, she smirked at his uncomfortable look. Well, you don't clean up too bad, although I think your combat gear suits you much better. Why are you in a dress kimono? I was invited to have dinner with Shiden-sama. He was interested in my fighting abilities after the whole business with the Tengu brothers, said Naruto tiredly. Hate decided to cut in before Kasumi or the village tour was brought up. He knew how jealous Ayane was of Kasumi and didn't want her angry. It has been a long day. I had to train Naruto-san here on etiquette to properly eat with father, and I believe fighting enemy ninjas is much easier than what we went through today. In spite of that, Naruto-san did well to convince father he had manners. Ayane stared at the two tired males and tried to stifle a chuckle. While they both appeared polished and refined at a glance, the pair looked mentally exhausted, and she could only imagine what etiquette training that Hate put Naruto through. She'd seen Naruto eat, and frankly it defied comprehension. You had to see it to believe it. Hate interrupted her, giggling when he mentioned Ayane. I would like to talk to you this evening after I finish visiting with Naruto-san. I will meet you in a couple of hours at Jenna's place if you are available. She bowed. Of course I will be available, Hayate-sama. I will see you there. Seeing they were a bit rushed, she bid Naruto good night. Naruto and Hate bid Ayane farewell and silently went to Naruto's quarters without a word being spoken. When Hate was about to speak, Naruto opened a scroll with some tags and placed one on each wall. Hate watched interested as Naruto placed a final tag on the floor and channeled visible chakra through them. Each tag glowed briefly and Naruto sat down. Seeing the question in Hate's eyes, Naruto explained. These are silencing seals. Whatever we discuss in this room will not be heard outside of it. Hate looked rather impressed. This is more of your fuinjutsu, I take it? Yes. Will you explain Ayane-san and Kasumi-sama's situation to me now? Asked Naruto. I notice you avoided mentioning my tour tomorrow when we ran into Ayane. I'm guessing there is bad blood between them. Hate sighed deeply. I will tell you if you swear not to repeat what I say. Receiving a confirmation from Naruto, Hate explained that Ayane was he and Kasumi's half-sister and cousin, and that she was born as a result of Reidu forcing himself on Ayame. It was difficult for Hate to explain this to an outsider, but he felt he could trust Naruto for some reason. That would explain why she reacted with such fear against those black spider ninjas. Said Naruto, thinking aloud. What happened? Asked Hate, concerned. One of the black spider ninjas offered to let me go free if I would let them have their way with Aang. Explained Naruto. Seeing the extreme anger on Hate's face, Naruto continued. I killed them all before they could lay a finger on her. Hate nodded, looking satisfied with that. Thank you for protecting her. I would never let them do that to Aang or anyone, Hate-sama. Naruto said in an iron tone. It was an hour later after a long discussion that Hate said, so as you can see, Aang is extremely jealous of Kasumi and is bitter that she grew up an outcast whereas Kasumi was always privileged. I know you've made an effort to be friends with Aang and I'm glad for that, but I'm afraid she's going to be furious when she finds out you've been running around with Kasumi all day. By the way, you seemed rather uncomfortable around Kasumi. Is there a reason why? Hearing the slight edge in Hate's voice, Naruto quickly explained, it was the situation of your father arranging all this, not Kasumi-sama. Forgive me for being so blunt, but Shiden-sama has reasons for this little tour in Kasumi-sama's company. Anyone could have shown me around the village, but having Kasumi-sama do it? It's totally unnecessary. Why would the clan head's daughter be required to show around someone that is an outsider, and potentially could be a danger to her Hate-sama? If anything, Shiden-sama strikes me as the type to be an overprotective father, but I don't know him well enough to judge. It seemed to me that Kasumi-sama thought the same thing. I understand now. Said Hate. I don't know father's reasoning either, but I assure you he is an honorable man. He doesn't bear any ill intent towards you if that's what you're worried about. Naruto nodded. I wasn't worried, just puzzled. Still, I would hate to hurt Ain's feelings because of her seeing me with Kasumi-sama. She'll probably see me as some kind of betrayer. She's already got some major abandonment issues. I was treated badly growing up as an orphan, so I know what she feels like to some degree. I'm going to talk to Ain later. I'll explain the situation to her a bit. I think Ain enjoys your company. Said Hate. That being said, if you hurt either of my little sisters, I'll have to beat you severely. Just so we understand one another. I have no intention of hurting anyone's feelings. Declared Naruto. Besides, if you'd let me head back to the Hayabusa village after I dropped Ain off, we wouldn't be in this mess. You have no one but yourself to blame, Hate-sama. Hate's sweat dropped. He's kind of right in a way. Well, anyway, don't do anything improper around them. That's all I ask? Hate stretched. We've been talking for quite a while. Make sure you rest up for our spar tomorrow. I'll be putting you to the test. Naruto grinned fairly. I'll look forward to it. Ryusama says you aren't quite as fast as him, but you hit harder. I'll see if I can't kick you around a bit. Hate smiled. I'll look forward to seeing you try, Naruto-san. Good night. Said the clan head as he let himself out. Good night, Hate-sama. With that, Naruto took down the silencing seals and turned in for the night. Meanwhile, at the main family residence, Ayame bid her daughter Kasumi good night, and went to see her husband Shurden. Shurden was sitting in their bedroom at their futon reading. Ayame entered quietly, closed the door behind her. What are you doing, Shiden-kun? Shurden smiled over at his wife. I was just reading the Tengu brothers' report from Mokuro again, Ayame-chan. No, I meant what are you doing giving Kasumi the task of taking Naruto-san on a tour of the village? Asked the clan matriarch suspiciously. I don't know what you mean, Ayame-chan. Said Shurden nervously. You practically set the two of them up on a date. Don't try to hide it. Said Ayame. I know about you feeding that man to the sharks, so don't pretend you thought it would just be nice for her to go out with a young man. Are you actually playing matchmaker? Shurden knew better than to try to fool his wife. She knew him too well. Joe-sama and I discussed Naruto-san at length. He said Naruto and his friend can perform many things that sound like ninjas of legend. Joe said they could actually walk on water. Ayame looked puzzled. So? Any ninja can wall run or run across the water if they keep enough speed and momentum up. You or I could do it in our sleep. No, not like that, Ayame-chan. Joe said they could walk on water and it would support their weight. Shurden explained. They can walk, sit, stand still, or even spar while on the water surface as if it was solid ground. Naruto has all the makings of a master-level ninja someday, from what I've gathered. If he is as good as I hope he is, he potentially could start his own village or perhaps join ours. So you want our Kasumi-chan to lure him in? Ayame asked with narrowed eyes. I don't like that, Shiden-kun. She said crossly. I'm just thinking about the future. Said Shurden hurriedly to avoid his wife's wrath. There are few men strong enough or honorable enough to be worthy of our daughter. Naruto-san and Kasumi-chan are almost the same age, and if Naruto performs well in that spar tomorrow, it will prove just how strong he is. He is honorable enough that Joe and his son Ryu trust him enough to protect their village even though he has no blood ties with the Hayabusa village. That in and of itself says a lot about Naruto-san to me. Besides, he and Kasumi-chan might actually hit it off with each other. She seemed friendly with him at dinner, and he seemed interested in her as well. Alright, Shiden-kun. I'll let this slide for now, but if Kasumi-chan gets hurt, I'm feeding you to the sharks. Said Ayame imperiously. Yes, dear. Replied the terrified clan head. Please let this work out. Meanwhile Naruto was sleeping and dreaming of ramen with no idea what was in store tomorrow. The Mugen Tenshin village. Naruto woke up early and did his morning rituals. He was going to wear his normal clothes but Hate asked him to dress nicely so he put on his fresh uniform from the Hayabusa village. It was a sleeveless, form-fitting suit similar to Ryu's falcon suit, minus the headgear. He had been given as a gift by Kureha and Momiji. Hinata liked it and said it suited him well. She actually liked how the snug suit showed off his body but she didn't tell Naruto that. So trusting Hinata's judgment on things he wore it along with his sage coat that concealed his weaponry except his chakra blade that he had on his back. As he exited his room he found a message pinned to his door. Naruto, I'm looking forward to watching the spar you're having with Hayate-sama this afternoon. He told me about your tour this morning of the Tenjin sector that Shiden-sama arranged and maybe after the spar this evening I'll be able to give you a tour of the Hajiman sector of the village, provided Hayate-sama doesn't pummel you too badly. Good luck, Ain. Naruto smiled. I guess Hayate-sama is running interference for me. I'll have to thank him after I kick his ass this afternoon. Don't get too overconfident, Naruto. If he really is able to fight on par with Ryu you're really going to have your hands full, said Kurama. Oh come on Kurama. Don't burst my bubble. I'll probably get my ass handed to me on a platter, replied Naruto. First I have to get through this tour of the village though. I hope Kasumi-sama isn't too irritated she has guide duty. From the way people talk she's the princess of the village. My experience with princesses hasn't been too good. He heard Kurama snickering in the back of his mind. Naruto was exiting the guest house when he ran into the young Kunoichi Megumi that he met the first evening he arrived. She gave him a huge smile and trotted over. Good morning Naruto-san. Is this your combat uniform? It looks very good on you. I can tell by all those muscles that you take your training extremely seriously, she said with lust in her eyes. Oh god. It's her again, thought Naruto desperately. Then he thought of a solution. Actually Megumi-san, could you direct me to Ito's tea house? I'm supposed to meet Kasumi-sama there for a light breakfast, and don't know the way. Megumi's eyes got big as saucers. Kasumi-sama? She's meeting you for breakfast? Damn. How can I compete with her? I won't give up that easily but I'll have to play along for now, she thought mischievously. Yes, do you know the way? Asked Naruto praying it would throw the girl off. It's over 2 streets. Pouted Megumi. I'll take you over there. After a short walk they arrived at their destination. This is the place Naruto-san. I'll see you soon, she said flirtatiously while swaying her hips a little extra as she walked away. Unbeknownst to Naruto, Megumi concealed herself as soon as she got out of view to watch how this played out. Naruto stood outside the tea house trying to not attract too much attention. Unfortunately his blonde hair stuck out like a sore thumb and people were watching and wondering what he was up to. About that time Kasumi arrived gracefully in a swirl of sakura petals. She smiled warmly and said good morning Naruto-san, I hope I didn't keep you waiting long. Flashback. Kasumi was putting on her standard blue and white ninja attire. Even though the Black Spider clan supposedly was withdrawing from the area, it wouldn't do to be without weapons. Picking up her wakizashi, she heard knock at the door to her room. Kasumi-chan, it's Mom. May I come in? Kasumi answered in the affirmative and Ayam let herself in closing the door behind her. Good morning Kasumi-chan, are you getting ready for your little outing? Yes Mom. I'm trying to figure out how to kill so much time until the spar. It won't take that long to tour our village. It isn't like we're touring Nagoya, Kyoto or something, answered Kasumi. Your father planned it that way, explained Ayam. He wants you and Naruto-san to have plenty of time to get to know each other over breakfast and lunch. Get to know each other? Asked Kasumi. As in romantically? Yes Kasumi-chan. Your father sees young Naruto-san as a ninja with great potential and wants you to see if you two go well together, said Ayam with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Kasumi's delicate features twisted into a scowl. And father didn't think to ask me about it, why? You know how he sometimes gets brilliant ideas in his head. This is one of them, said Ayam. I would have at least asked before I set you up on a date. I guess there's no helping it, said Kasumi dubiously. I'll have to make father pay for this somehow. That's my girl, said Ayam smiling. Leave your father to me for now. But do try to have a nice time with Naruto-san. In spite of my misgivings, the young man does have a lot going for him. If your father's crazy notion does actually work out, he could be a great ally to this village. I know you never saw the reports, but he utterly defeated the Tengu brothers without getting a scratch according to Rokuro-san. You too, Mom? Asked the ruffled Kasumi. Ayam shook her head. No Kasumi-chan. I'm just telling you to maintain an open mind. He seemed nice enough over dinner. Kasumi nodded and got the rest of her things on, realizing she would be late. Giving her father a death glare on the way out the door, she vanished in a whirl of sakura petals, leaving Shurden to wonder why his baby girl looked so vicious this morning. Flashback end. I didn't wait long, Kasumi-sama. In fact, I just got here myself, said Naruto with a weak smile. He was wondering how they were going to kill 5 hours until the spar. Kasumi smiled brightly. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Since we have a lot of time, I thought we could enjoy a big breakfast. My father is paying for it all, of course, so we can eat all the expensive food we want. Naruto's warning alarms went off. Her tone seemed to be filled with vengeance. Oh, this kunoichi is pissed, Kurama decided to throw in his opinion. Hey, as long as she's pissed at her father and not at you, then just play along, and you might make it out alive. Good point, thought Naruto. Well, in that case let's have breakfast, I am rather hungry, he said as he opened the door to the tea house for her. Yes, I'm starving too, Naruto-san, said Kasumi, hell-bent on ruining her father financially. They were soon welcomed into the restaurant and seated. Kasumi pointed out the better things on the menu, which coincidentally cost the most, and the two ate a great deal. Naruto was eating at a sedate pace for him, but was putting away masses of food, and Kasumi was happy that Naruto was helping her to get her revenge. She didn't know he ate his own weight in food on a regular basis. After leaving a generous tip, Kasumi set about showing Naruto the village and was describing the architecture and history of the Miyama area. You certainly know a lot about this stuff, Kasumi-sama. Where I grew up, I just noticed I liked a particular building because it was a certain color or style, said Naruto. Well, since I'm in the head family, I had to learn all of this stuff whether I wanted to or not. I wish I could have slacked off a bit when I was little, she replied. Naruto nodded. Well, slacking off is good and all, but all I did was slack off and play pranks. I wasn't a very good student at all. You played pranks? What kind of pranks? Asked Kasumi, wondering what he meant. Naruto sat down with her on a bench in the shade of a tree and started to describe some of his tamer pranks he pulled while he was in the academy. Kasumi was soon laughing uncontrollably at some of the most devious and outrageous things she'd heard of in her life. How did you not end up in prison, Naruto-san? I can tell you're not making this up, but my god. Well, Kasumi-sama, the key is to not get caught, explained Naruto. I'm not saying they didn't know that I'd done it, it was just a matter that they couldn't prove anything. After I graduated, one of my teachers told me I was the most creative trap makers he'd ever met. If only I'd known the shadow clone jutsu back then, I could really have wreaked some havoc. Shadow clone technique? She asked. It's a ninjutsu, he said as he stood up. Here, I'll show you since it's safe. Naruto stood in front of her and said shadow clone jutsu. A puff of smoke later, 3 Narutos stood in front of her. The left one said, choose which one is the real me, Kasumi-sama, as all 3 traded places multiple times to throw her off. That's simple. It's you, the one that was talking, she said, pointing at one. Nope. All 3 chorused at once as they changed places again. Kasumi got up. This is quite an illusion. She reached out and poked one in the chest and found out was solid. Got you. Nope. All 3 reached out and poked her shoulders. All 3 are solid? She grabbed each of their hands. What kind of illusionary clones are these? They're not illusions, said Naruto, coming out from behind the tree. Shadow clones are solid clones that can think and act independently of their creator until they run out of chakra or are dispelled. All 3 Narutos standing near Kasumi vanished in puffs of smoke. That's amazing, Naruto-san. Wait, how do I know this you is the real one? Kasumi asked. Naruto smiled and chuckled. Actually, you don't. I could still be eating back at the restaurant, or sleeping in my room, but I assure you I'm the real me. You are a very remarkable person, Naruto-san. I could see how those clones of yours could be really handy in combat situations, Kasumi said, smiling. She heard Naruto's stomach growl. Wow, you're actually hungry after that huge breakfast? I guess it is time for lunch though. Naruto smiled sheepishly and said, well, I am a growing boy. As they went towards a different restaurant for lunch. An hour later, Kasumi found she was really enjoying herself. Naruto turned out to be a fun and interesting person, and seemed to have great respect for kunoichis. He didn't gawk at women like pieces of meat either, which was a big plus in her book. His rather odd accent made her wonder exactly where Konoha once was, but he was a ninja and ninjas usually had a few secrets, so she didn't ask. I'm looking forward to seeing how you fare against my brother, Naruto-san. I could see how those solid clones could completely overwhelm an opponent even if they can only take one hit. I won't be that lucky, Kasumi-sama. If Hayate-sama is a good match for Ryu, he'll probably be able to take out my clones, explained Naruto. Still, I'm looking forward to a good fight. I always enjoy facing strong opponents and sparring is fun anyway. An hour later, Naruto was standing in a sparring field with Hayate. The field was flat with a tree at one end with overhanging branches. A big crowd was gathered as news of the spar shot through the village like wildfire. Shurden, Ayame and Kasumi were watching from one side while Ain and Genro were at the opposite end with all kinds of villagers both young and old were gathered in between. Naruto's fangirl Megumi was there too. Right now they were all watching as Naruto and Hayate picked up wooden practice swords. They both agreed that they would prefer to spar with real blades, but Shurden already made that decision for them. As the two combatants were preparing, they were talking a bit. This crowd is a little too close. We're going to have to hold back a bit, said Naruto. That is why Ryu and I usually head towards the outskirts of the village and spar in private, commented Hayate. I don't mind a couple of bystanders, but many here wouldn't be able to dodge a stray kunai or shuriken. We will have to be careful. Still, Kasumi indicated you had a nice time together, so I won't have to batter you too badly, he said, smiling. Talk like that after you've defeated me, said Naruto with a toothy grin. They stood at the ready position as Rokuro came out acting as proctor. Somehow I got volunteered to be proctor. I realize you both have some lethal techniques, but be wary of the audience. We don't want anyone to be hurt. Are both fighters ready? Receiving confirmation from both of them, Rokuro said loud enough for the crowd to hear, this spar will continue until one competitor yields or is knocked out. Begin! Naruto leapt back and immediately made 6 shadow clones that rushed Hate in pairs, forcing him on the defensive. Hate read the reports about Naruto's solid clones, and quickly dispelled 4 of them but saw the real Naruto rushing in after them, knocking the remaining 2 clones out of the fight. Hate and Naruto engaged in a fierce taijutsu battle. Naruto felt the hits and Hate hit hard. However, Naruto's Toad style was nothing to scoff at, and getting lucky, he managed to knock Hate back with a vicious haymaker. Hate was shocked Naruto was actually that strong. He expected a fight, but it seemed he would have to kick it up a notch. Drawing his wooden sword, he said, "Your hand-to-hand is very good, Naruto-san. Let's see how you fare with a sword." He unleashed a devastating offensive against Naruto and forced the younger man back. Naruto created more clones to buy some time and prepared to launch his own offensive. Naruto quickly found out he was totally outclassed with a sword as his offensive was stopped cold. Changing tactics, he jumped onto the tree branch and proceeded to battle Hate upside down, taking the young clan head completely off guard. The crowd gasped at this move. Shurden was immensely pleased seeing Naruto's performance. He expected the boy to make Hate sweat a little but never expected the blonde to be battling this hard. It was obvious to Shiden's eye that Naruto wouldn't win in a straight sword duel, but rather than yielding, the young man leveled the playing field by using the terrain in innovative ways. Hate found he was battling an opponent who was in an opposite stance from him, therefore very difficult to read. Naruto, on the other hand, was used to combat from all kinds of angles and was pressing his advantage. The older ninja retreated away from the tree, making it necessary for Naruto to drop down and face him right side up again. Naruto quickly created 6 more clones to wear Hate down a bit while he thought of a new strategy. Hate didn't give the blonde time though and plowed through the clones, locking blades with Naruto and forcing him to a knee. Naruto instinctively channeled wind chakra through his blade crack. Oops. I guess my wooden sword couldn't handle the wind chakra, thought Naruto as his blade snapped in half and he rolled backwards to avoid Hate's blade. It's been a good fight, but I have you now, Naruto, declared the sweating Hate. The young clan head suddenly felt something grip his ankles. What? He looked down and saw a clone of Naruto's hands pulling him down into the ground with the headhunter jutsu. Hate dispelled the clone but was pulled into the ground to his knees and had to use raw strength to bust himself out of the earth. He watched with wild eyes as Naruto kicked Hate's sword away from him and then tackled Hate as he broke free of the ground. That was a dirty trick, said Hate as he kicked Naruto off of him, sporting a black eye. Ninjas always fight dirty, said Naruto as he smiled through a busted lip. The two rapidly re-engaged each other in a brutal taijutsu battle. This time neither one of them was holding back. The blows echoed across the training ground. Naruto managed to kick Hate back and the clan head landed by his sword. Retrieving his sword, Hate smiled crookedly and prepared to attack. Then he saw Naruto was on one knee. I yield, Hate-sama. I can't beat you without a sword of my own. Hate knew Naruto still had fight in him, but since both of them were bruised and hurting, and this wasn't a death match, he silently agreed the battle should end here. Winner Hate-sama, declared Rokuro. Although as hard as the two had been fighting, he wondered if it wasn't just a fluke. Naruto and Hate bowed to each other and said, "Thank you for the spar." As the crowd cheered in excitement. "You gave up a little too easily, Naruto-san," said Hate. Naruto shrugged. "It was that or we would have both been hauled out on stretchers. Besides, you really are strong, Hate-sama. I would enjoy a rematch sometime with real weapons instead of breakable swords." Hate smiled and nodded. "As would I, Naruto-san." Kasumi raced up to them. "You were both amazing. I've never seen a fight like that before." Shurden came up and said, "You've exceeded my expectations, Naruto-san. The two of you did very well. Now the two of you need to be checked over by the medics," interjected IM in a tone that would brook no opposition. Hate groaned and led Naruto over to the waiting medics who were waiting to patch them up. That evening, Naruto was soaking in the bath at the guest room he was staying in. He told the medics that he healed fast, but they still wrapped him up in bandages and covered him in ointments. He heard a knocking at his door and groaned. Grumbling and slipping a towel around his waist, he slid open the door tiredly. "Yes?" "Oh, hi, Ain-san. What brings you by?" Ain was staring at Naruto's wet, naked torso as the water dripped down off it in slow motion to her eyes. She saw the muscles gently rippling as he inhaled and exhaled. Her eyes roamed all over him, taking in every detail. Ain-san?" Naruto was beginning to feel self-conscious as the violet-haired girl continued to stare at him unabashedly. Ain rapidly looked up with a dry mouth and stared at Naruto's face. Her red eyes widened as she looked at his azure ones and her whole body felt flushed and weak in the knees. Gods, how did I not notice this body before? Naruto suddenly realized his state of dress was totally inappropriate, and said, "I'm sorry, Ain-san. Let me get some clothes on." He quickly slid the door closed while Ain breathed in the scent of his sweat and the steaming water. She mumbled dazedly, "You don't have to on my account." Naruto dried off and slipped on his black combat suit he'd been wearing around Kasumi that morning and hoped Ain didn't think he was a pervert. The only thing still damp was his hair. He slid the door open and said, I'm terribly sorry about that, Ain-san. Ain said, It's fine, Naruto. I didn't know you were in the bath. I came to see how you were doing. You had a busted lip and lots of bruises from your spar with Hayate-sama, and she looked at his swollen lip and saw it was completely healed. What? You had a split lip earlier and were all bandaged up. I heal fast, Naruto said simply. It's a bloodline in my clan. Ain looked at him with obvious disbelief on her face. She thought he was just acting tough. Seeing Ain's look of disbelief, he said, I'll prove it to you. He grabbed a kunai and cut his thumb, making it bleed. What are you doing, moron? She asked in a panicked tone. Don't panic, Ain-san, just watch. Within 5 minutes the cut had completely healed over before her amazed eyes. He washed the blood off, showing completely healed skin. See? No big deal, Ain-san. I'll be completely healed from the spar with Hayate-sama by morning. Do you still want to show me the Hajime sector of the village? Ain nodded. I got permission from my father, and he said it would be okay. Are you up to it, Naruto? And just call me Ain. Sure. I'll get my gear on and we'll go. I'm starving for dinner anyway. Is there a ramen shop in this town? Asked Naruto. You want ramen? It wasn't exactly a fancy meal, but now that she thought about it, neither of them had a fortune to spend either. Sure, why not? She said, smiling. Awesome. I will tell you a secret, Ain. Ramen is the food of the gods, and I've been unable to pay it proper homage since the ramen shop in the Hayabusa village burned down. I will make up for my sins against the ramen gods tonight, and I'll pay for yours too. Ain smiled softly at his goofiness as she led him to one of the 2 ramen shops in town, as it was bigger and nicer, with him talking about the joys of ramen the whole way. They made it to the first shop, and Naruto immediately saw the waitress staring at him with stars in her eyes, but her eyes turned cold when they looked at Ain. She smiled at Naruto and said, Welcome to our humble shop, Naruto-san. We're honored to have you here. Forgive my boldness, but you should be careful about what company you keep. She's been known to ruin others' reputations. Ain grit her teeth at the usual allusion she was a demon child and expected Naruto to ask the waitress why. Then the same pattern of hatred towards her would be started all over again, and she would lose Naruto's friendship. She suddenly felt Naruto's killer intent flare as he said, What company I keep is my business, waitress-san, not yours. Everyone in the shop was sweating at Naruto's oppressive aura, especially the quailing waitress who looked like she was ready to keel over. Naruto ceased his killer intent and said, Come on, Ain, let's find another place. Bigotry and hatred spoils the flavor of ramen. I'll never set foot in this place again. Ain was shocked as Naruto basically dragged her out of the shop. You said there was another ramen shop here in town? He asked. She nodded. Do they treat you badly too? She shook her head. No, they're always nice to me, but it's just a little stall. Then let's go there. Good ramen is best when served by people who care. Then he said in an iron tone. I won't stand for people mistreating my friends, Ain. You are a strong and smart kunoichi. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Ain nodded, ducking her head so he wouldn't see the emotion in her eyes. She wanted to hug him and thank him. Instead, she led him to a small ramen stand in the Hajime sector. An older, heavy-set chef was sitting back behind the counter reading the paper, and he looked up and saw Ain. He smiled at her and said, Welcome to Kato's Ramen. Ain-san, I haven't seen you in a while. What do you fancy tonight? He saw Naruto come in behind her and raised an eyebrow. Are you Naruto-san? That was one hell of a spar you had with Hayate-sama earlier today. Naruto laughed. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Kato-san. Please just call me Naruto. Ain says you make good ramen and my taste buds demand ramen. Kato chuckled. Well, you've come to the right place. What can I get for you? He said, placing a menu in front of each of them. Ain ordered 1 vegetable ramen while Naruto pored over the menu. Well, I can't decide. I'll have 3 beef, 3 pork and 3 miso to start with. That's 9 bowls of ramen, Naruto-san, said the chef. Naruto slapped the money on the counter for 10 bowls of ramen. Yep. Serve Ain first, and I'll keep you busy for a while. An hour and a half and 15 bowls of ramen later, Naruto was patting his stomach contentedly and said, Kato-san, you make excellent stuff. The ramen gods will bless you for your hard work. Ain had enjoyed the quiet banter over dinner immensely until things got strange. You too are a follower of the ramen gods? Asked Kato in awe. Naruto smiled and said, Yes, I am. I've been unable to pay homage to the greatness that is ramen since the shop in the Hayabusa village burned down. It's such a tragedy, said Kato emotionally. Whenever I was there I always sampled their goods. I pray they can rebuild. I'm sure they will. They are blessed by the ramen gods like you are, Kato, said Naruto with conviction. Unlike those non-believers across town here. Say no more, brother Naruto. You are preaching to the converted, said Kato reverently. Realizing she was about to be caught in some sort of religious fervor, Ain grabbed Naruto and said, Thank you for the delicious food, Kato-san. Anything for a fellow believer in the food of the gods. Come again, said Kato as Ain flew away, dragging Naruto along. My god! There's some sort of secret ramen religion that's infected our society. What am I going to do, thought Ain. Naruto smiled. Well, what a cool old chef you have here, Ain. I'm glad we came. Are you still up for showing me around? Realizing Naruto had reverted to his non-ramen worshipping self, Aiin smiled and said, Sure Naruto. They spent the evening looking at the dark side of the village, and he once again met Genra, who secretly had watched Naruto defend Aiin against the bias people had against her. Finally, Naruto parted ways with Aiin at her home. Genra thanked Naruto for treating his daughter well and bid him good night. Today has been a good day, reflected Naruto to himself. He'd enjoyed his time with Kasumi this morning and then had a fun spar with Hate. Then he'd shared ramen with Aiin, who finally seemed to be warming up around him. Naruto made it back to his guest room to turn in for the night, and found an invitation to the main family's home to join Shiden-sama for a private breakfast. He was told to dress informally, so Naruto once again hit the sack, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, Naruto was sitting alone having a private breakfast with Shiden-sama. They had discussed a wide variety of topics, mainly centered around Naruto's unique chakra skills and abilities, which Shiden had apparently discussed with Joe to a minimal degree. And that's why I called you here, Naruto-san. I want to ask you how you intend to rebuild your clan. The abilities you've shown are too great to simply dwindle away and die out. You show every sign of being a master-level ninja someday. Both the Mugen Tenshin village and the Hayabusa village wish to support your endeavors to repopulate, but starting a new village would be difficult. Forgive me, Shiden-sama, but I don't know what you are getting at. I'm not planning to start a new village. I have no people other than myself and Hinata-chan. Precisely, said Shiden. For you to truly join a village you need to form blood ties through marriage. That's why I'm giving you formal permission to court my dear daughter Kasumi-chan. I assure you she will be a master-level ninja someday, so I don't take this lightly at all. I see big things in your future, and cementing things by joining both you and Kasumi would help assure your clan's future, whether you choose to stay in the Hayabusa village or move here. Naruto stared in shock for a moment, but his brain rebooted quickly. Shiden-sama, I am greatly honored, but I believe Hinata-chan will be my wife someday. I can't court Kasumi-sama. It wouldn't be right, said Naruto with obvious distress in his tone. I wouldn't expect anything less of you, Naruto-san, but you will need multiple wives to revive your clan, said Shiden as if he were talking about the weather. What? And multiple wives? Stuttered out Naruto. Of course. You would need to take multiple wives from both villages and form the basis of your new clan. Naruto looked absolutely scandalized, but Shiden held up his hand to forestall any arguments. Polygamy was legal here in Japan until the United States banned it at the end of World War II in 1945. You would have your legal wife who would be the head of your wives, and the others would technically be concubines, but if you love and have relationships with them, there's no reason you wouldn't call them your wives as well. Naruto was too dumbfounded to speak. Taking Naruto's silence as a good sign, Shiden then continued. I've consulted with the Shrine Maiden Kureha via letters, and I assure you it's perfectly acceptable in shinobi society under the old laws. More than once a clan bordering on extinction was restored this way. Your wives would not be shamed or dishonored in any way by being involved in a polygamous relationship with you. I would think you'd be overjoyed at this opportunity. Isn't it basically every young man's fantasy to have a harem? Shiden-sama, I don't know what to say, but I'm not rich or anything and don't have anything to offer a woman, let alone several, said Naruto shakily. Shaking his head in amusement, Shiden said, You are too modest. There are many young women in this village, both kunoichi and otherwise, who are very interested in you. They see you as a future clan head, rightfully so I might add. They want to get in on the ground floor. Personally, I would advise you to marry kunoichis, though, as civilians do not understand the harsh realities of being a shinobi. Talk to Kureha and Ryusama. I'm sure they will agree. Naruto was dismissed an hour later in a state of total confusion. What the hell am I supposed to do, Kurama? Wait till you get back to your guest room, set up silencing seals, and then have a nervous breakdown. Right. 20 minutes later, Naruto was safely warded behind silencing seals and yelled, Is that old man insane? At the top of his lungs. One spastic fit later, Naruto calmed himself to meditate and entered his mindscape. Kurama's chambers. Naruto was lying on his back on top of the water, staring at the ceiling. Well, Kurama, what do you think? I'm at a total loss. Kurama was lounged on his side and would have laughed at the ridiculousness of it all if the situation wasn't so dire. Alright, Naruto, let's look at your options. You've got 2 villages, and I know you intend to marry Hinata someday, so I assumed she would be your head wife. You act like this is a done deal, Kurama. It would break Hinata-chan's heart if I told her I wanted other women as well, lamented Naruto. Well, you also have to look at the big picture, said the ancient fox. If you and Hinata run away, both villages would consider you their enemies because you know too much about them. Furthermore, allying yourself with one village and not the other could cause friction between them and you down the line. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place politically. Hinata was raised to be a clan head, so surely she would understand the politics of it all. So I'm supposed to round up several headstrong, independent and dangerous kunoichis and tell them they have to play nice and share me? They tie me up with ninja wire, burn me at the stake if they were feeling merciful. What if they were seriously mad? Asked the blonde. You have a serious fear of vixens, Naruto, said Kurama with a deadpan look on his face. Between Sakura-chan and Tsunade-ba-chan, what to expect? Come to think of it, kunoichis have wailed on me throughout the academy except Hinata-chan, mused Naruto aloud. Kurama groaned. And yet you like strong women. Since Hinata has finally come out of her shell, you've found her 10 times more attractive than you did. It figures he would be attracted strong women like his mother. I guess that's it in a nutshell. Agreed Naruto. The women I like are femme fatale. When Hinata's really angry or giving it her all, she seems so beautiful to me even though my neck's on the line. Well, your first step is to talk to Hinata and Kureha, Naruto. For that you need to go back to the Hayabusa village, said Kurama with a tone of finality in his voice. That's the best advice I can give. There are too many variables at this point to consider anything else. Naruto calmed his nerves and stood up. I guess you're right, Kurama. I'll just have to take this in one step at a time. Thank you for talking with me. I feel better now, though I'm still uneasy. You're a great friend. Well, as long as you're calmed down. Both Naruto and Kurama's heads perked up. Sounds like company. You'd better get the door. I just hope it's not bad news, said Naruto as he opened his eyes and heard Megumi's voice. Oh no. Megumi sounded a little panicked. Naruto-san, I have an urgent message from the Hayabusa village for you from the aviary. Are you in there? Naruto slid open his door. I'm sorry I didn't answer, Megumi-san. I was meditating. You have a message for me? Yes, it says it is urgent on it, so I brought it as quickly as I could, she said as she handed over the message. Naruto quickly broke the seal and opened the message. Once again it was in Genjiro's writing. Naruto, I'm sorry to cut your vacation short, but something has come up. A group of fiends is loose in Nagoya and our forces here are too weakened to mount an offensive. The Black Spider clan seems to have been probing the area to make sure we and our Mugen Tenshin allies couldn't interfere. Get a guide from Hayate-sama for Nagoya and exterminate them. See if you can find out their purpose as well. To risk attacking a major city, they must be after something important. The fiends involved seem to be low-level types, but they are still far too dangerous for normal people to handle. You have my permission to show this message to Hayate-sama or Shiden-sama if need be. Good luck, Naruto. Genjiro doesn't ask for much, does he? Thought Naruto. It just shows how much he depends you, said Kurama. You're being the voice of reason? Asked Naruto incredulously. Kurama growled, just for today. You've had a rough time. Naruto turned to Megumi. I need to see Hayate-sama immediately. Can you take me where he is? It's very important. Megumi nodded and led Naruto down to Hayate's office where the clan head was nursing all his bruises and still had a black eye from yesterday. Knocking on the secretary's door, she said, It's Megumi-san from the aviary. Naruto-san has an important matter to see Hayate-sama about. May we enter? The secretary, a tall, attractive brunette, opened the door. I'll take it from here, Megumi-san. Dismissing the girl, the secretary said, I'm Hayate-sama's secretary, Yamiko. You are quite the looker in person, Naruto-san. I saw the spar and I was very impressed, she said, almost purring. Thank you, Yamiko-san, but this is news about the Black Spider clan's activities and I must inform Hayate-sama immediately, Naruto said with urgency in his voice. Realizing the slightly younger man didn't want to play, Yamiko pouted and said, Fine, I'll check with Hayate-sama. She vanished for a few moments down the hall and then returned. Follow me, she said. At the end of a short hall was Hayate's office. She slapped Naruto's ass and said, Head on in, Hayate-sama is waiting handsome. Then she headed back to her desk swaying her hips. The embarrassed Naruto entered blushing slightly and greeted Hayate. Hayate looked at Naruto wondering why he wasn't still beat up too and then noticed the blush on Naruto's face. I take it Yomi was flirting with you. That woman is insatiable when it comes to men, said Hayate as he received the note from Naruto. Eyeing it carefully, he asked Naruto, Are you up to this after our spar yesterday? Yes, Hayate-sama, I'm completely recovered. I heal fast, answered Naruto crisply. Noticing the younger man's split lip was completely healed and his visible bruises gone, Hayate grumbled must be nice under his breath and said, Let me see who I can send with you. The young clan head flipped through his roster and said, Kasumi is free. What about Ain? Asked Naruto. I fought alongside her before. Her ribs are still tender. I don't want her fighting fiends in that condition, and I'm out of it thanks to you, Hayate said in a flat tone. Sorry. How combat capable is Kasumi-sama? I've never seen her fight, asked Naruto. She's at least at greater ninja level. Kasumi is equal to or better than Ain currently in most respects with the exception of raw speed. She's a very capable kunoichi, and she's fought fiends before. Most importantly, she knows Nagoya well. I trust you two can protect each other? Hayate asked. Of course. I'll protect Kasumi-sama with my life, said Naruto. Good then, I'll send for her. Hayate buzzed Yamiko to send a runner to retrieve Kasumi. A while later Naruto met up with Kasumi at the village gates. She was wearing a black form-fitting ninja suit with a short blue cape. She had her wakizashi, shrouded moon with her and a Fuma shuriken in addition to her regular gear. Likewise, Naruto was in his black falcon suit-styled uniform and had his sage coat and chakra blade at ready. Since they were geared up for war, the two took off through the forests towards the metropolis known as Nagoya. Kasumi described a bit about Nagoya and the two ninjas figured it would take about 3 hours to get there. They stopped for a short break in a large forested area about halfway there. Naruto used his sensory ninjutsu before they took off again. The two came into a clearing moving quickly when Naruto felt his foot brush against something. In a split second Naruto realized he triggered a trap, but by that time it was too late. Multiple bolos flew from different directions and tied the two up tightly. Kasumi and Naruto were struggling against their bonds, but the more they moved, the more the bolos constricted upon them. Naruto grumbled to himself shit as he tried to figure out a way out of this situation. Well, it seems I've caught some big game. The blonde that damn near killed the Tengu brothers and the heiress of the Mugen Tenshin clan, said a black spider ninja coming out of the forest in front of them. I'd never stand a chance against either of you in open combat, but with my traps I've killed much stronger foes than I, he said smugly. Who the hell are you? Asked the struggling Naruto. The black spider ninja chuckled. Me? Oh, where are my manners? I'm Jiro the Trap Master, and you, my friends, are in my trap, said the now named Jiro. He came over to Naruto. I'd love to take you back to the Tengu brothers since you butchered them so badly, but truthfully you're too damn dangerous. Tell you what, since I'm such nice guy I'll behead you quick and painless. As for you, Jiro said looking at Kasumi. You'd make a great hostage and a bargaining chip later. But on the other hand I'd hate to see that beautiful body of yours go to waste. Oh, the possibilities. Kasumi glared defiantly at him and Naruto yelled, Keep your mitts off her, you scumbag. Kasumi asked, Why are you attacking Nagoya anyway? I understand you attacking us and the Hayabusa village, but you are taking a big risk attacking a city. Jiro shrugged. Hell if I know. I'm just following Obaba's instructions to keep you from interfering. Supposedly the fiends are trying to get some important artifacts from the Atsuta shrine. I stay away from them. You do realize fiends are pure evil, don't you? Asked Kasumi. Anything they steal from a shrine would only be used for sinister purposes. You mean like the Kusanagi sword that is supposedly housed there? Jiro asked. The Kusanagi? Thought Naruto. Jiro leaned back against a tree and laced his fingers behind his head and laughed in a dismissive tone. I'm surprised a princess like you even believes in that mumbo-jumbo. Then again, Obaba does. Two wind-laced kunai flew out of the trees and hit the nerve clusters in Jiro's shoulders, pinning him to the tree behind him. Jiro cried out in agony as his arms spasmed and fell useless to his sides. Fuck! He yelled out. Jiro saw Naruto and Kasumi come out of the forest, and stared in disbelief as his two captives disappeared in puffs of smoke. Well, it took a while to disarm your traps, Trap Master, but in the end you were the one that ended up being captured, said Naruto. Since you already told us everything we need to know, I guess we won't have to interrogate you. Tell you what, since I'm such nice guy I'll behead you quick and painless. Jiro stared in shock and horror, as a barely visible blade of wind removed his head from his shoulders. Naruto made several clones and said, Gather up all the disarmed traps for use later. I'll strip the body of anything we can use. I'll seal it all up afterwards. Naruto's clones all set to work and Naruto retrieved his kunai from Jiro's corpse. Used to Naruto would have been squeamish about this, but recovering all the bodies at the Hayabusa village had hardened his outlook as a ninja. It saddened him that part of his innocence had died. Kasumi watched as the multiple clones quickly and efficiently dismantled all of the traps in the area. She saw Naruto had finished with Jiro's remains and hid them out of view. She was glad Naruto handled that part. Although Kasumi had killed as a kunoichi many times, sometimes mercilessly, she hated stripping corpses. She said a small prayer for Jiro's soul and Naruto's work was soon done. So tell me about this Atsuta shrine and the Kusanagi, said Naruto. What if Naruto was banished to Dragon Village? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.